For over a century, the inhabitants of this sprawling urban metropolis have laid claim to the title of Australian football champions, led by the likes of Bobby Rose, Dick Reynolds, Teddy Whitten and Bobby Skilton. The Victorian machine has built a reputation almost unequalled in the modern sporting era. Today, they face a new challenge, a challenge that must be met far away from the protected playing fields of home. It will take them past the city of churches, where on October the 26th, the quiet of a spring day will once again be shattered when 30 of the fastest men on wheels greet the starters flag for the second Australian Grand Prix.
6 cars on the first lap. Race leader, Nicky Lauder, and off he goes. Nicky Lauder's lost it.
From Adelaide, the journey continues west across the vast expanse of the Nullarbor Plains, past the historic, colourful mining town of Kalgoorlie, until finally one reaches the Darling Ranges, gateway to Perth. From the hills, it's a trip down the Swan River, past the Burswood Island Casino, past the Royal Perth Yacht Club, where a joyous PM celebrated the spoils of victory with the people of Australia. From the Yacht Club, it's only a short trip to the Indian Ocean and the port city of Fremantle, host of Australia's greatest sporting challenge, the defence of the America's Cup. But it's not yachting we're here to focus on, rather football. And for that, all roads lead to Subiaco Oval and the deciding match of the 1986 Australian Football Championships. Welcome to Channel 7's coverage of the 12th State of Origin match between Western Australia and Victoria. Commentary team for today's Australian Football Championship Showdown is fronted by former WAFL league coach and current chairman of Channel 7's Perth World of Football, Dennis Cometti. Representing Victoria is Australia's favourite football personality, the mount from the south, Lewis Richards. From Perth, ex-East Fremantle and South Melbourne star, Eric Sarich. That's our team. Now here's your host, Dennis Cometti.
How's that for technology? Welcome to Subiaco Oval, the State of Origin game today, Western Australia against Victoria. WA loves their State of Origin clashes. With me is Lou Richards, and Lou, both these sides here as a result of great games in Adelaide.
Well, that's right, and of course this is a very important game to both states, because if West Australia wins today, it means they're dead level with Victoria on the amount of wins they've had. I think it's Victoria 7, isn't it now?
6-5,
6-5, 6-5. So it'll be 6-all, but I spoke to the Victorians this morning, their coach and a few of the other players and officials. They're very confident about winning, but that's typical of Victorians, isn't it?
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
No, but it is. But I think this is the best side they've picked for quite some time. It's a very versatile team, and they've got players that are more Victorian type players than we've picked for many years, I would say.
What about back in Melbourne? Plenty of interest in the game?
Well, there will be. I know that back at Channel 7 in the boardroom, we've got all our sponsors there watching the show, and all the commentators. I know they're having a sandwich or two and possibly a friendly Foster's and enjoying themselves with the fellas. And we just say, well, I hope you enjoy the game down there.
You were talking about the equation. Let's take a look at that now. What can happen as a result of today? Of course, the Australian Championships are on the line. Work that out if you can. Makes sense. 5 goals Victoria's way would just about do it as far as the afternoon's concerned. And what about the record of State of Origin matches? Well, they started back in 1977. Western Australia won that one at Subiaco Oval. Then they went to Victoria in 1978. That was a big win for Victoria, 100 points, I think, from memory. And that did interstate football quite a deal of harm, Lou, that game.
Well, I think it's great that the contest is so close, because, you know, 5-6, it means that there is a tremendous amount of interest in it. And, of course, I just can't get over the atmosphere in the city itself of Perth, Dennis. I was walking around the town this morning, and everyone's talking about the game. Yep. And, of course, it's a complete sellout. I think there's... I expect over 40,000, which is tremendous for this ground here, isn't it? It's bigger
than the America's Cup today, Lou, and that's something.
Well, that's pretty big here at the moment.
That's right.
This is a big deal, and of course, the West Australians are noted, particularly their supporters, to be a little bit one-eyed when Victoria kicks a goal. We hope they give a big round of applause today, Dennis.
OK, some great names have played in these State of Origin clashes. Let's go back now and take a look at some of the action.
In 1977, after years of Victorian domination, the NFL saw fit to change the rules governing state games. And finally, after 73 years, champion players from every state returned home to compete for their state of origin. Year one of the new format saw the Sandgropers crush the Vics by 94 points. Year two, and with that inaugural loss still burning within and a home crowd screaming for revenge, the Victorians greeted the final siren 106 points ahead. The following year saw victory going to the Big V by 14 and WA by 15. 1980, and the Vics pulled off the double, winning by 35 and 24 points. 81 saw WA turning the tables, handing out the Southerners an 87-point thrashing. The Vics bounced back in 82 to win by 23. The following year, in a game to remember, the local heroes snuck home by 3 points. 84, and WA completed the double, snatching a 4-point victory. Last year, in front of a capacity crowd, it was the Big V by a crushing 75 points. So after 9 years and 11 games, the WA Victoria State of Origin scoreline records Victoria 6, WA 5.
Only some great memories there. We'll be back talking about today's game right after this break. Certainly an imposing sight from the Subiaco Oval on a Tuesday afternoon in Perth. It's slightly a grey day now. Let's check the weather printout. There it is, the forecast top 17 degrees, the current temperature 16 degrees. Gentle breezes from the east as the Victorians arrive on the ground. There they are in the distance down there. The Victorians out there in Lube. It is a colourful sight despite the absence of the sunshine at the moment.
Well, I think you provided typical Victorian weather for us, Dennis, and it's great to be sitting here with Eric Sarich. He's got plenty of friends back there in the old South Melbourne days.
Yes, Lou, I must admit I look forward to your commentary from Sydney every second week, and still a very, very avid South Melbourne or Sydney Swans supporter, and it's tremendous to see that side doing so very well.
Dennis, the crowd, now they said there could be a capacity house here today, which is between 40 and 45, but there seems to me if there's quite a few vacant spaces around the area now.
Yes.
What is the idea? They come a little bit later, do they?
And maybe they're not coming, I think, Lou. There's about, what, 30,000 here at the moment, which is a little disappointing. I can't imagine what the reason would be. I think local hopes are very high for this game, but I'm surprised. Eric, what's your reaction?
Well, the only thing I can think of, Dennis, it hasn't been all that well publicised that the game is starting at 1:45 Perth time as against 2:20 as we normally have it. I think a lot of people will be caught in the traffic jam-ups coming to that as the Victorian lineup comes up.
Well, Victoria have named, they've dropped, I think out of the side will be Langford, Osborne and Harm. It'll be Langford, Osborne and Banks are out of the Victorian 22 players. And of course you saw the lineup there. Looks a pretty formidable side, and most players are in form. One of the interesting moves there, Dennis and Eric, is the fact that they've got Taylor at full forward, and of course Salmon sitting on the bench. Now he can play either as a ruckman or a full forward, of course.
Right. Plenty of options for both coaches. In fact, there's Laurie Keane. Let's take a look at the likely lineup for WA then. Not big on size or strength, really, Eric, when you run through that team.
No, I must admit to some little apprehension, Dennis. I don't feel that this side is even as good as the one we had last year. Of course, Victoria cleaned West Australia up by 75 points in that one. I really wonder where the driver's going to come from. I believe that Rioli's not playing in the centre. There's a move to play him out of the forward pocket, but that's about all I can tell you. I'm not too sure about anything beyond that point.
Well, let's take a look at some of the key players for both sides. Firstly, Western Australia. There have been some fine performers in this group so far this season in interstate matches. Andrew McNish was an outstanding player as far as WA were concerned in their clash against South Australia at the Adelaide Oval. When I say the Adelaide Oval, the Oval in Adelaide, of course it was Football Park. Andrew McNish, a youngster. He's coached by Hayden Bunton, and a player with plenty of potential.
Yes, his effort in Adelaide was quite superb. I think the inexperience didn't bother him at all, and I think with that game under his belt, obviously he'll be better for it. And with that talent, there's Laurie Keane, the big fellow, number 25. Played a lot of football at full forward for Subiaco in years gone by, but with an injury to the number 1 ruckman, he's been released into that duel as a ruckman, and he really has had a fantastic season, and he's the man WA will be looking to combat the tall timber of Madden and the salmon.
And talking about youngsters, what about Dean Laidley? An outstanding performance at debut in South Australia.
Well, I think the nearest I could describe him to Victorian viewers, Dennis, would be a right-footed Ken Hunter. Certainly potential, obviously, that's a very, very tall order to compare him with Ken Hunter, but he's the player that Laidley reminds me of. Kicks with the right foot, very young player, very slim player, but an outstanding prospect indeed.
Okay, Lou, what about some of the key Victorians?
Well, we've got quite a few superstars here. I would like to ask you guys one question too before we go to the players. What about Peake playing at full forward? Is that a strange move or not?
Well, a little surprising, although he's been playing very well in club matches. There's Michael Mitchell. Let's get the print out on him before we go any further. Peake's been taking some very strong marks. His marking this season has been a highlight of the local competition. Michael Mitchell, Sandover medalist in sparkling form this year. And let's march on to the Victorians now and take a look at some of their key players, players that WA may well have to combat this afternoon.
Brett Hardy on screen there. Now, of course, Brett Hardy having a sensational year again. And when he first arrived in Melbourne, some of our good judges said that he couldn't play that well, but he won the Brownlow medal, and of course would be one of the favourites now. There we see Paul Salmon. Paul Salmon, as we all know, had an injury, very serious injury last year, made a comeback and performed very well in the finals. And like the Bombers, he has been in the doldrums a little bit, but he came back to top form last week, kicking 8 goals, 5. And they're expecting a lot from Paul today, even though he's on the bench, on the interchange bench, because I think he'll be out there either in the ruck or possibly if Taylor doesn't do well at full forward. Well, Dermot Brereton, one of the most sensational centre-half forwards around, can be in and out with his form, but he's such a player, such a brilliant player that he could be out of the game for 3 quarters and all of a sudden he lets go and he can win a game within 5 or 6 minutes. He's like a bottle of nitroglycerine. He can go off any tick of the clock. And of course, Brian Taylor came from Richmond, a player that was a little bit out of form, let's say out of form last year because he was worrying about umpires' decisions and not playing in front. But this year, under the coaching and the guidance of Lee Matthews, has certainly developed into a top full forward. He's had a great season. He's heading the league goal kicking list, and they're banking on Taylor to do a pretty good job here today.
Former West Australian too, Lou.
Well,
started his
right.
football down at Mandurah. Didn't play league football here in Western Australia, but we watch his progress with interest too. Okay, we'll be back with the first bounce right after this break. Has won the toss. Western Australia going towards the western end of the ground, aided by what breeze there is. All is in readiness now. The umpires this afternoon, Johnson and Castle. Congratulations to them getting this game.
Well, it doesn't matter if we have rain because this ground essentially can take a bit of water, can't it?
Won't hurt at all, will it? Ground in very good nick. Wayne Harms coming off the ground with Salmon. Folds, and in the foreground Morwood. So they're the interchange players for Victoria. Crowd of about 32,000. The State of Origin game, 1986 here at Subiaco Oval. At stake, the Australian title, of course, after today. We'll have the All-Australian side named. I would imagine quite a deal of interest in this game in South Australia as well.
One of the moves that Victoria have made, they've put Royal on the ball and they've got Waitman playing down there in the forward pocket. And, of course, well, he was supposed to be, I think they'll swap over. I think, yes, Waitman is playing on Hardy down there in the forward pocket. I think that's one of the moves they've got going here today.
A few changes being made in the WA defence. It seems Waterson is coming off the ground and Ellis is coming on, owing to the composition of the Victorian forward line, which is a little strained. So already an interchange movement is made by Ron Alexander. Umpire Castle's got the footy. Are about to get underway. It'll be Keane opposed to Madden at the first centre bounce down. There's the bounce. Keane and Madden go to it. It's one out by Keane, wide of the pack. It's taken by Mullane. High kick towards half forward. In front is Danaher. Over the top comes Lester Smith fisting away. Gathered by Dwayne Lamb. A high kick towards half forward. Satori going to the ball. It pitches in front of him. He's being pursued by Ruse. Coming down the ground is Wilson. Close to the boundary line. Paddles it back. It's taken by McNish. He's claimed by Alvin. Holding the man. Free kick McNish on the outer side. And Andrew McNish, only 20 years of age, a youngster from Subiaco, looks central. There goes the kick in the direction of a teammate, Laurie Keane. Keane on the line of the square, the attacking sided centre with the ball for Western Australia. A couple of players free. Mitchell waiting behind, knocked away well by the Victorian defence. Royal was the man that got the fist in, and breaking away it's Carroll. Carroll kicks towards left half forward. Hardy leads in the race. Good shepherding by Glendinning. Waitman hot on the hammer of Hardy, got into his back. Free kick Western Australia.
A little bit short across the half-forward line there, Dennis. I thought WA could have done a little bit more of it from centre half-forward.
Brad Hardy midway between the lines, kicking towards half-forward. With the run is Madden. Over the top he comes and takes the strong mark.
It was a great mark too. Madden goes for hand pass. Back it comes to Roos there at half-back. Victoria centre. And there'll be a free kick to Victoria. Pushing the back that time to their skipper, Danaher. So Danaher driving it long, looking for Taylor. Ball punched away by Ellis. Taylor goes after again. He goes down there, going in hard. Picked up by Williams. A long shot. Brereton's got the mark. Well within the 50-metre mark. He'd be about 40 metres out, if that. I don't think he'd be 40 metres. Yes, about... Oh, that's the 25-metre mark. Because we've only got one circle in Victoria. Of course, it's rather a bit confusing. And that'll be a chance here for Victoria to put the first score on the board. We've only been playing about 2.5 minutes. Brereton comes in from about 25 metres. And he's only kicked a point. That was a bad miss. And the crowd giving him a big raspberry there too.
Well, we don't expect a lot of applause when you kick goals, but when you miss like that, I think there's going to be a few cheers, and there certainly was on that occasion.
Points are very popular, aren't they?
Oh, they'll up and over here as long as the blue and white jumper doing it.
It'll be Miles to bring the ball back. Madden got his hands to it, picked up by Lamb. It comes out now, and the ball drip over to Narkle. A long kick over the half-forward line, and there's nearly a free kick. It'll go there to Roos, doing pretty well at centre-half back at this early stage. A short pass. DP Domenico. Out it goes now. Has a chance now for Healy. He'll go for a run around that wing position in front of the member stand. Picked up by Waitman. Hardy's got the job of finding him over. It goes now to Royal. Back to Waitman. About 40 metres out from goal. A running shot, but he's off target. Once through, it's through for a point. So Victoria have got 2 behinds on the board. They've been to attack for this last 3 minutes. And we see Victoria 2 behinds to West Australia yet to score.
Glendinning kicks to himself, comes grandstand side with a high kick at the fall of the ball. Madden opposed to Keane, who knocks it on intelligently, taken by Buckenara, shovels it out to Lamb. Lamb met solidly by DP Domenico. He was battling initially with Healy, and the free kick will be taken by Lamb just backward at centre wing.
Just about took his head off that time, DP Domenico. Dennis?
With intent, I think, Lou. There goes the kick towards half forward. Shocking effort, marked by Royal, and the Footscray Rovers away, back towards half forward. In front, a chance for Victoria, and the strong mark is taken there. Hand pass comes out. That was Poole who took the mark. Still it's Poole battling across the centre now for Victoria. Scrambles a kick towards half forward. In front, Danaher. It's fisted away by Lester Smith. It's all Victoria forward. Mullane gets a hand pass to support. Chance now for Buse, who goes down towards full forward, but dropping back, the mark is taken by Glendinning. He wastes no time. By hand to Lester Smith. Runners to the grandstand side. Not a particularly good kick. Diving attempt at the mark fails from Davidson. And Victoria battling in there through Buse, and the umpire decides he'll ball it up.
Plenty of pressure midfield, Dennis, from the Victorians. They're certainly getting the run out of the centre of the square or that area.
Bounce down midway between centre half forward and left half forward, grandstand side. Madden opposed to Keane. Keane does well. Ellis over the ball, pushed in the back, and he'll take the free kick. Shane Ellis rushed onto the ground before the centre bounce through the interchange gates. That's unusual. Kicks high, grandstand side. 1-out contest. Buckenara and Carroll. Almost a mark to Buckenara. Carroll a bit of recovery. Confronted by Rioli. Ball spills free. DP Domenico over it now. Crashing through the pack. A chance for Baker. Back into it comes Thompson. And the umpire calls for the bounce. Kept his footing well there, did Carroll, after the contest with Buckenara. Umpire Johnson, the West Australian umpire, to bounce it down. Just forward of right centre wing for the West. One again by Keane, who's doing well on the ball. Thompson paddles it out to Carroll. His kick is blanketed. Davidson held without it. He'll take the free kick inside the centre square. Peter Davidson sees Hardy. Not a particularly good kick, but Waitman fell over. Hardy takes the mark out towards left half forward.
Well, he'd be about 60 metres out. Got away that time from Waitman. There's a long kick. It's a magnificent kick by Hardy. Up the top of the pack, and that's West Australia's first score for the game. So just over the, just on the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. It was a great kick, Eric.
60 metres at least, Lou, from the time he booted it well outside that 50-metre circle. And West Australia's first genuine forward sortie.
Well, there's no doubt about him. He's a roving defender. The ball punched out. It comes down now to Rioli, a fumble. There's a go for Baker. He's well tackled by Thompson. Back it comes down again. Umpire's calling play as Lester Smith has grabbed over to Thompson again. Down he goes. A chance for Big Matt. He had a fresh air shot. Rioli with a chance. Sockers it over to Mitchell. Back to Rioli. This could be a goal coming up with Rioli running at the goal. And it'll go through for 1 point. So neither side scoring a goal as yet. 7 minutes gone of this first quarter. And scores are dead level. 2 points each. Well, it's pretty strong football as the ball goes out there towards the 50-metre defence line. Picked up by Buckenara, back towards the full forward position. The pack flyers a go. Mitchell went without the ball. Cleared away by Roos, doing well there. Mullane comes in, he's grabbed by Davidson. A fumble by Thompson, he's grabbed by Davidson. A great tackle by Davidson. And the umpire's going to ball it up around about 30 metres out from the West Australian goal.
Pretty fierce, Lou.
Well, they're both going in hard, and of course a lot at stake. If the West Australians win today, they're equal with Victoria in the last 12 State of Origin matches. Danaher fumble that. There's a hand pass coming out that time from Morwood. Over it goes towards the wing position. Plenty of fumbling by Mullane. The ball driven up there by Lamb. Punched away again. Good play by Thompson, and Thompson goes for the long kick towards Burden. Punched on by Burden, goes after it again. Shows a bit of strength, brushed his opponents off beautifully. It drops short, Narkle goes, but couldn't hold the mark. But the little fella butters up well, gets it out wide to Glendinning. Glendinnings's on the centre wing position, but he can't pick it up. He gets a hand pass back, but the umpire said he threw it, and he threw it all the way that time. And Victoria ready to go into attack as we see the free kick going now to Williams.
Williams quickly by hand gets it across to Carroll. Carroll running down towards left half forward, goes towards full forward. Hardy dropping back, takes the mark despite some attention there from Taylor. Brad Hardy gets 15 metres now.
There's no doubt about this fellow. He seems to excel. Well, he plays well in every match, but he excels in these state games, doesn't he?
He loves them, doesn't he? So does Gary Buckenara. There goes the long kick through centre. Pack into the air. No mark taken. Waiting behind a chance for Roos for Victoria. Over the ball. Can't do much with it. Albin goes into lend assistance. Paddles it out. Taken by Waitman. He's dragged off it in turn. Over the ball is Baker. Baker breaks away for Western Australia. Kicks towards half forward. Buckenara hand. That was deft enough as the ball came to Rioli. Rioli too far out to score. Long kick towards the square. Peak.
Oh, yes. And that's the sort of marks that Brian Peake's been taking this year, Lou. Not noted really for his overhead work, but here's the high kick coming in. And just uses his body enough to keep his opponent away. Not a tall player, but that was a very, very fine, strong mark.
Brian Peake only 2 metres out. A deft touch from Buckenara. And the ball found this man who finds the goal. So West... It's not coming onto the ground. Well, about to after this centre bounce. Keane will contest with Madden. Rucks go to it. One wide of the pack by Madden. A chance for Davidson over the ball. Gets it out to Laidley. Taken high Dean Laidley. Wants to play on. Goes by hand to Baker. Baker gets around Waitman. Confronted by Williams. The hand pass as a result. Not a good one. Thompson gets it down to Waitman. They're working at close quarters on the outer side. Quick hand pass from Williams to Waitman. He whips it out wide. Taken by Royal. Royal around the outer side for Victoria. Goes down towards full forward. Pitches awkwardly. Brilliantly taken by the big fellow who was taken high. He gathered that ball on the bounce. Taylor towards the free kick. He's told to play on now. Hand pass is smothered. Arriving on the scene, gathering the ball was Royal. Missed kicks. It comes to Williams. Williams 30 metres out from goal. Has kicked to behind. So Victoria can't find the goal at the moment.
Well, that was Philly's playing the part of Taylor, but just the same, I think he was a little bit confused with the umpire there because the umpire let the West Australian player creep well over the mark that time, Eric.
He pulled him back 15 metres, Lou, and that's where the confusion started, and he really was well within kicking range.
There's Danaher flying high, couldn't hold the ball, mark the ball, tap back again. A chance now for the ball to go over there to Morwood, but Danaher's a little bit slow, goes after the ball again. In goes Healy, couldn't get clear, but it's finally picked up by Laidley. A pretty smart play. He's gone for the boundary line. It'll be out of bounds. There's a bit of a box on behind play here, and we expect that today. Hardy's in the thick of things there too. I think it was after Laidley was knocked over after he kicked the ball. Victoria might have been a bit lucky that time to get away with that. It'll be the two big fellas, and he's doing well, Keane, against Madden. The ball picked up by Mitchell, showing a lot of pace. There's a go for Narkle. He's at centre half forward, goes for a pass to Ripper. And does Peake look dangerous down there at the moment? They're going to do something with Kennedy because he's letting him get away.
What a pass.
And the crowd are going mad about Peake because he's already kicked one goal. He's got a big chance to put his second on the board because he's only about 30 metres out from goal on a very slight angle.
Well, he should.
And he's a confidence player. He's only got to get another goal, and I'd say he could finish up with 6 or 7 quite easily in this match today.
Well, yes, he's got a chance to make it 2 anyway.
There it is on its way. There's no doubt about that. Another goal for West Australia. And we're just on the 12-minute mark of the first quarter, and we see West Australia doing pretty well. They're 2 goals, 3 on the board. That's 15 points to Victoria, not going so hot at the moment. 3 points only. It's 2 goals, 2, I think it is, isn't it? That's a strange scoreboard you got over there.
Well, there's a couple of them over there. One is very strange and one's peculiar.
Stereo.
Bit of guesswork there, Lou.
Centre square infringement. Which way? It's going Western Australia's way. I think Madden knows that too. But kicks it down the ground.
Penalty.
Pretty hard to get a conviction against him on that one, though. I don't think too many players did know for sure.
Turn it up.
I think he might have known, Eric.
I'm trying to even the bias out here, Lou. I'm a bit each way.
There is Sydney Swans, man. We know that. There goes the kick. Deep into attack from Keane. Pack into the air. Off hands. It takes a free kick WA's way. It's going to Satori. Satori showing courage backing into that pack. And he's got the kick as a result.
Well, he's a class player, this young fellow.
They tell me he's a great player.
Well, you'll know all about it next year, Lou. I believe he's got every intention of going over to Carlton.
I think he might have been a bit lucky to get that free kick just the same.
Couldn't see it. Could you?
I
He's
didn't
not
see it
getting the
either.
free kick. It's Peake is having it.
Peake. Peake's kick to goal.
We've seen a whole lot of champions in Australia.
From Peake, a declaration. 3-2 to 3 behinds. There's the bounce in the centre. One down by Madden, knocked forward by Keane. Getting in the road was Carroll, showing a lot of courage. He'll take the free kick.
And the free kick to go to Carroll, round about the centre field area. Victoria in plenty of trouble. They've got only 3 behinds on the board, and West Australia 3-2, 20, 14, 20. I'll get it right in a moment. Ball punched it. Oh, great play. Ball knocked out. A fumble by Danaher. Waitman with a hand pass over to Royal. His kick is a wild one. Coming in as Ellis. Punched on that time by Healy. As a go for Hardy goes down. They pile it. That was Morwood going in after him then, and the umpire will board it up. Pearl, I should say.
How about that leap by Jeff Miles, the former Collingwood player? I think he's anxious to get back there.
Knocked out by Pearl, but waiting down is Little Mitchell. He's a smart little player too as the ball goes back towards centre field. Buckenara has got a chance here. Plays it on, picked up beautifully by Royal. He nearly copped one that time from Williams, but drives it long. Coming out as Wilson got under it. Goes after it again. It's finally pushed out, kicked on again by Satori, and the second time. And they're showing tremendous courage, West Australia. They're really going after it. There's a free kick to Victoria, and the free kick to go out there to Perth. So Perth to take the free kick down there in the back pocket position. West Australia 3 goals, 2-20 to Victoria, 3 behinds only. 15 minutes gone of this quarter. There's a go for Mitchell again, run into his own mate that time, Lester Smith. Over it goes from Healy, back to Williams. The ball driven up towards Taylor. That'll be a free kick and a mark too. He's got it there. He's only about, he'd be about 30 metres out from goal. He should have a shot. He's gone for a short pass. It's a shocker. This allows Glenn Denning to brush DiPierdomenico up. Great play by DiPierdomenico. Out it goes wide to Wilson. Wilson on the wing position, goes for a long kick, looking for Peake again. He's in front this time, punched out by Kennedy. Over it goes to Thompson, a hand pass comes back now, and the ball finally driven away by Victorious Perth. Out there towards the wing position. DiPierdomenico having a great battle there with Narkle, and the ball is out of bounds on the centre wing position.
And Paul Harding still waiting to come on.
16 and a half minutes gone of this first quarter. A torrid game here. 3 goals, 2-20 West Australia to Victoria, yet to score a goal. 3 behinds on the board.
Baker, the hurried kick down towards half forward. Off hands a chance for Davidson. Picking it up Rioli. He started this game brilliantly. Look at that. Wizardry. Drives it down towards full forward. Drifting back is Kennedy, and he should mark for Victoria and does. Kennedy on the 25-metre defensive line for the Vicks. Looks to the outer side. Lead is offered by Mullane. That's the direction the kick takes. Mullane, half back. Not much to kick to. Will have to pull it back. Intelligent use of the ball that time as he propped on the kick and pulled it to Poole. Poole, the defensive side of right centre wing, goes for distance down towards half forward. The target is Madden, working his way to the front. Out there was Harding. No mark taken. It comes to Williams. Williams gets it wide, taken on the outer side then by Bewes. Bewes feeds it into Royal. Royal now with time. Shocking kick into the forward line. Brilliantly gathered on the half volley by Waitman. Out it comes to Alvin. 25 metres out. Draws a man over the top. Brereton. Brereton 5 metres out and closing. Pops it through.
More, more, more. Ford, we give you more. More room.
Madden opposed to Harding. It's one down by the Victorian. Through the hands of Healy initially. Scramble develops. Buse has got the ball. The umpire calls for it. Overcast day in the city. The breeze is coming from the east. It's favouring the end of which Western Australia are going. Probably worth a couple of goals. Madden wins it down with his right hand. At the base of the pack, working hard in there as Buse yet again can't control it. And the umpire once more, this time umpire Johnson, calls for a bounce. Plenty of players around the ball. A lot of spirit, a lot of endeavour early in this game. Harding opposed to Madden. Madden comes over the top, but Harding wins it down. It's taken by Thompson, surrounded, tries to crash his way out. Socket off the ground by Williams. In turn, it's socket by Glendinning towards half forward. The carry of the ball favours Roos, who knocks it away from one West Australian, only to be confronted by another. Rioli pulls it back, knocked away by Carroll, wide of the pack. Roos comes crashing back in for Victoria. He's got the ball at half back. Spears a hand pass out to Carroll. Carroll long to Healy. Healy on the run from half back. Magnificent hand pass as he sends it to Danaher. Danaher gets around the traffic, and again he's in trouble now. Drops it quickly onto the boot. Can't gather the ball there, Victoria. It bounces off the leg of a Victorian Royal. Comes across in turn to Buse now, though. Buse in congestion, pops it in short, and the mark is taken by the big fellow, just dropping back. That's Simon Madden. Simon Madden, quick to play on, puts it to the square. That's a little ambitious, but Taylor, strength, takes the mark.
Well, he was too strong there for the West Australian player, Miles. And Miles, an ex-Collingwood player, of course. Well, now a chance for a goal here to Taylor. He's not on the kick-off mark, and this will be Victoria's second if he's successful. They're 9 points at the moment to West Australia, 20 points. There it is. That's a goal to Taylor. So Taylor's got his first goal in the match, going up there to thank his teammates for the good work. And we see the scoreboard now, 3 goals, 2-20. West Australia to Victoria, 2 goals, 3, 15 points.
Signs of nerves really by players on both sides there, Lou. Again, I thought WA, Rioli once and Mitchell once went for shorthand pass, which really were not on at any stage, and that caused a bit of a mix-up in the centre of the ground, which gave Victoria the break.
Well, they've got a couple of dangerous players there. The Rioli looking very dangerous, and so is that little Mitchell and of course the ruckman's doing fairly well. That's the big fella Keane against Madden.
So far, yes.
Ball knocked out that time by Victoria, pushed up there by Healy. There's a chance now for Baker. He's grabbed by Danaher, crashing his way through, or trying to crash his way through the pack. That time was Glendinning, and the umpire will ball it up down towards Victoria's centre half forward position. The crowd gradually building up now, and I'd say it's getting pretty close to 40,000 people. There she goes. Well, that was Harding going for the knockout against Madden. In goes Glendinning, but they pile up again, and the umpire will ball it up round about centre half forward.
6 kicks to Rioli so far, Lou, so he's certainly having plenty of influence.
Well, he's looking good. And, of course, that little Mitchell always looks dangerous, and Hardy got away on a couple of occasions with a magnificent kick from centre half forward, knocked out by Madden. The ball pushed on, picked up by Baker again, smothered. As we see it picked up here now, out it comes, a chance for Danaher. Over it goes now to Royal. He'll straighten up fire. Too long for Taylor. He tried to pass it to Taylor instead of having a shot from that close range. I can't understand that, really. Well, it is foolish play.
I just wonder whether these legs went from him a little bit.
No, I don't think so. I think he tried to drop it short. Ball dropped in short now, and Harding goes for the mark, but the umpire will pay that. That'll be a mark to Harding down there on the back pocket position for West Australia. Over it goes now. The ball driven out by Miles. Ball tapped to the ground. Lester Smith's grab. That'll be a free kick against Madden for sure. And Lester Smith to take the free kick out there at half back. Into this quarter by just over 20 minutes. It's West Australia 20 points to Victoria 16.
Ball on the outer side. The kick in the direction of Satori, and close attendance is Roos. And between them, they put the ball out of bounds. Great first term, this one.
Well, I should imagine the West Australians have the adrenaline flowing pretty quickly too at the...
Well, it need to keep flowing too.
Yes, I'd say
Victoria
so.
won't give them much to spare.
Buse taken high, no free kick. Mitchell goes in after the ball. Rioli dragged off it by Mullane. There'll be a bounce on the outer side. Victoria wasting some opportunities, but by the same token, as we've said a couple of times, the breeze is favouring the western end, the end of which WA are kicking. Coming through and taking clean possession is Blackwell on the ground. His kick not a particularly good one, and Carroll gets on the end of it for Victoria. And as Carroll, the Victorian vice-captain, in the right back pocket. Comes up the middle of the ground. In best position to mark is Ellis, but over the top, Danaher takes a spectacular mark. It's not paid. Working hard in there was Narkle. 3 West Australians. Narkle emerges with the ball, but the umpire calls for a bounce. That's umpire Castle. Well, Danaher appeared, Eric, to take a mark.
Looked like it to me, yep.
There's the bounce inside the centre square. Won by Madden, down to Danaher. Feeds a hand pass across to Alvin, who fumbles. Now he's in real trouble. All sorts of bother. Pushed off the ball was Folds. Picking it up now is Healy. Hand passes back towards Williams. Williams over the ball. Gets a lucky deflection towards Folds. Back it comes to Williams, the master of the handball. He gets it across to Madden. Hurried kick towards half-foot. It's all Western Australia there. Harding should have taken the ball. Costly mistake. Picking up Williams. Chips the ball into the path of Royal. Royal inside 50 metres. Grabbed, dragged down, holding the ball. Hardy to get a kick.
Something to say to the Footscray next week about that, won't he?
He must have known his moves there, Eric.
Yeah, he won't be too royal.
Hardy around the outer side with a high kick. Working his way to the front. Satori did well, but claiming the mark is Hilly, and the mark is stand at right centre wing. He wants to play on. Thought about a hand pass across to support. Now he goes alone, almost dragged off the kick. As a result, the kick not a particularly good one. Leslie Smith interferes with his opponent down there, and the free kick will be taken by Danaher.
I think it was a free kick, but I think he did act a little bit, Danaher. Lester Smith wasn't too happy. There's a lead coming from Taylor. He's got it again. Oh, he's looking strong today. He's already kicked one goal and could have easily kicked 4, I would say, or 3 goals up to this stage of the match.
Yes, he gave away a short pass, which he needed, but that was a great mark because he had Hardy in front of him, Miles behind him, and from between them, he took a very, very safe mark and really should convert and put the Victorians in front.
Well, he's only about 20, well, he's right on the 25-metre mark, so he's on a slight angle. The crowd giving him the raspberries. He fires. But I don't know what the result is. Let's see what it is. It's 1 point, so it's a bad miss by Taylor. So it's Victoria. 2 goals, 5-17 to South West Australia, 3-2 20s. We wait now for the ball to come back into play. Out she goes now. There's a chance for Mitchell to mark this one. He will. Good mark for the little rover. A very smart player. Out there at half-back. Boots it out towards the wing position. Coming at the back was Satori, couldn't hold the mark. Going after is Ellis. He's grabbed by Roos. Roos doing a great job. Coming through his foul. Picked it up very firmly as he goes for the long kick. Len Denning got under that one. Good play on the part of little Waitman. Then too, Reuter was grabbed. The umpire called play on Waitman again. Over it goes now, and Healy has a running shot at goal. That'll come around nicely. That's a goal, and Victoria hit the front.
Because of its soil deposit eliminator, the Hoover Elite 900 gets clothes cleaner and brighter. That's why Hoover is ahead of the rest.
Tonight on Day by Day, we meet a marathon runner chasing a world record, and he's blind.
In New Zealand, I won the marathon in 2 hours 50.
Victoria hit the front. It took them 17 minutes to score their first goal, but they're looking a lot better now. Knocked out by Madden. The ball kicked back that time by Baker. Chance here for Carroll to mark. Settling down well on that half-back flank. Takes the mark at centre half-back. He's had Buckenara pretty well covered. Finally, it's picked up now by Foles. Foles is over the half-forward line looking for Healy. Healy having a great battle there with Ellis. The umpire's going to pay that marker a free kick.
Well, he played the mark for Endeavour, I think. I don't really know whether he controlled it.
Could have been a free kick there too, Eric.
Wasn't a bad effort nonetheless. In fact, he had to do it because the Victorians were on the break again.
Good play by Ellis. He sends the ball back to centre field. Punched out by the Victorian defence. That was Carroll getting it down. Oh, we see Rioli grabbed. He didn't have the ball that time. I think this is about his 8th or 9th possession in the first quarter. He's played a great game. Seems to be all over the place. I don't know if he's playing in the centre or not.
He is now. I think he started out of the forward pocket, but he's since moved into the centre. Oops.
Well, he's gone for a hand pass to Lester Smith. He's looking wide, looking for the little fella again. He's looking dangerous, Mitchell. Oh, balks beautifully around Waitman. Goes for a short pass, and the ball is grabbed here now. This time by Wiley. Wiley's kick is not too good, and it's through for 1 point.
Changed jumpers. That's Blackwell.
Was that Blackwell? It changed jumpers. Well, they can do that.
Sneaky,
What's Wiley wear? What numbers he wear?
Wiley's not playing
today.
Not playing. So
Wiley's
that's
out
Blackwell
altogether,
now,
apparently. Yep.
Well, okay, the ball back into play again. Out it goes, a chance for Carroll. As I said before, doing a great job out there at half-back. Ball comes back to Williams, and Poole's there too, and he's there to get there first. Over to Williams. Williams looking for someone to give the hand pass. He's found Alvin out there on the wing position. Another pass coming up. Taylor having a great battle. He gets one in the back. The crowd didn't seem to think so. Well, they wouldn't think that over here, I just imagine. And the ball is out of bounds, just on the Victorian 50-metre mark in their attacking zone.
Williams accumulating his usual number of hand passes, up to 5 already, Lou, in the first quarter.
Victoria lead by 2 points. It's one wide of the pack by Harding, taken by Mullane. Gets a hand pass across to Williams. Williams chips it for a more central location. Royal was interfered with, I thought so. Royal will take the free kick directly in front, only 30 metres out. Very courageous little player is Royal, and he and Waitman causing a lot of concern. Now, why would he want to short pass the ball there? He actually thought about that.
He gave it a bit of thought, didn't he? This is the free kick as we wait on it. Royal. Well, I don't suppose you can interfere with a player to that extent, can you?
No. only 30 metres out, World. Distance is no problem at all, yet he toyed with the idea of going short. As it was, he kicks a goal. Victoria's fourth. They're 4-9. It was at 4-5. 4-5. Western Australia 3-3.
Yes, and no doubt about the roving situation, Dennis. Brian Royal just had his 6th kick, which was that goal you saw, and he with Waitman has been very, very busy, doing very well. Very impressed with Carroll on the half-back flank. He's completely shut Buckenara out of it, and he's a player that West Australia would certainly be looking to give them a bit of momentum across that half-forward line, and also at centre-half forward, Satori rather quiet.
8 points the difference. Played 27 minutes. Opening term of this State of Origin game. It's one down by Madden, who since Keane's gone off the ground has really dictated the tune there on the ball, and perhaps that's the barometer of this first quarter, as Glendinning has claimed. Brereton, the defending player, dropping the ball. In fact, it's a free kick the other way. It'll be taken by Brereton.
Well, Glendinning wasn't wrapped, but he's looking a little bit slow to me. In fact, his form this year, I believe, hasn't been all that special.
Well, it hasn't been the best, Eric.
No one standing the mark as Brereton goes down towards full forward. Lester Smith gets a fist in there and copped one for his quarter. Falls forward to the pack. Harding swings it out grandstand side. Leading in the race now, Buckenara. Buckenara pulls it back superbly to a voice. That's all it could have been. Mitchell's got it. Some support, moral if nothing else, was lent by Narkle. Mitchell chips it down looking for Satori. Satori gets the half volley, crashes past a teammate, gets it across to Rioli. Hurried kick towards full forward. Great effort, Rioli. WA's fourth. They're 4-3. Victoria 4-5.
Well, that was a spectacular goal, and one that West Australia certainly needed, because the Victorians had kicked the preceding 4, and things were looking a bit ominous as the ball comes down. Now, a lot of fiddling went on here. First of all, Narkle got in the road of Satori. Satori almost tagged then and may have got a free kick, but Rioli one grab and one kick, and that's the brilliance of this player. That was his 7th kick.
Yes,
I think his ball control is really the key. He is quite superb.
Just on the 30-minute mark, 2 points the difference. The ball knocked out by Harding. Comes down to DiPietro Manico. Buckenara, DiPietro knocks it on again. A hand pass coming out that time. A short one wide. There's a go for little Mitchell. He'll drive it deep, looking down there for Peake, having a battle down there. The ball punched out again and knocked through and played it safe by Kennedy. The crowd didn't like that at all.
Well, not a lot of options was there to Kennedy on that occasion. He had to do it. Alexander standing there with one of the West Australian selectors, Ken Armstrong, looking rather concerned.
Point the difference. We're over the 30-minute mark of this first quarter. The pack fly, it's finally picked up by Mullane. Well grabbed by Davidson. It'll be another stack up there, and the umpire will ball it up out there about 60 metres out from the West Australian goal. Victoria looking a lot better than they did in the early part of this quarter. Good knockout by Matt, picked up by Williams, doing very well in the centre. Great juggle by Mullane around the wing position, and the ball will go up. But there's the end of the quarter, and a great one it was too by both these sides. 4 goals for 28 Western Australia to Victoria, 4 goals 5-29.
First term, Eric Sarich.
Dennis, that was yet another outstanding quarter of football, the sort we've probably learned to expect in these sort of clashes, and I think the game was certainly played in 2 halves. I thought that Laurie Keane initially was doing exceptionally well from West Australia on the ball opposed to Salmon, and probably at about the 20-minute mark or thereabouts in that quarter he was removed from the rucking duels anyway to a forward pocket, and from that point on Victoria got on top. Their smaller players, Waitman in particular, but he very effective with his hand passing, and also Royal got on top. Williams continues to accumulate kicks and hand pass, almost a wheel in the centre of the ground, and the Victorians were getting a little bit of run, and when Taylor started to get a little bit of aerial supremacy at full forward, they looked very, very good indeed. And I thought West Australia certainly needed that last goal from Rioli just to steady things down.
I couldn't understand West Australia taking Big Keane off the ground, because I thought he was doing pretty well in the ruck against Madden. Is that a set plan? They have this sort of plan when they play these matches, or what?
Well, I don't really know, because I would presume so, because obviously the similar heights, I guess, Madden
I suppose the same thing applies, and Victoria does it loose. Sometimes coaches are inflexible. The 15-minute mark, we're making a change no matter what.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's ridiculous, because I think that big tall guy, as I said, Keane was doing well. He got quite a few knockouts, and when he was getting those knockouts, that's when your side was going into attack. I say your side because I know you two guys are not one-eyed, and but that's when they were going to attack. And of course Rioli, as you mentioned, Eric's played a superb game, and little Mitchell always looking dangerous.
We'll be back right after this commercial break. One break could finish up in the Guinness Book of Records. They're still talking down there. Let's go down now on the boundary line to John Rogers and Ken McCauley, who've been doing a little eavesdropping. Let's start with Ken.
Thanks very much, Dennis. Well, Kevin Sheedy was most impressed with the way the Victorian side didn't panic, you know, with 3 goals on the board. And Victoria hadn't scored in that first 12 minutes. He was very pleased with the players settled down He wants them this quarter to hit the ball a lot harder, be more aggressive, because he realises that Western Australia are very prone to kicking that short ball and then opening up with a long one. But overall, he wasn't panicking. He was very pleased to come in at quarter time in front, and he's asked for the players for the next 30 minutes of football to give it their best. John, what about Western Australia?
Well, Ken, from a Western Australian point of view, the thing that concerned Ron Alexander most, although he said the commitment was excellent, the players were committing themselves to the job in hand, he was a little concerned that the Victorians were able to run the ball into their forward line in pairs, and he felt that what was happening is that a couple of defenders were going to the man with the ball instead of one staying back. He said the commitment was good, they were moving the ball well, they've got to use the ball a little bit better into the forward line, and he reminded the players that it is not a friendly game. Get nasty, get angry, and use the ball better than you've been using it. Back to you, Dennis.
Thanks, John. Let's say up here it's friendly, isn't it, guys?
Well, that's right, and it's great to hear that Ron Alexander would say that, get nasty, but it hasn't been a fiery game. We had one little bit of a dust-up, but it's been a splendid game of football, really, and it's great to watch, isn't it?
Yes, it's been outstanding so far. Here's hoping it's another tight finish. Last year a little one-sided, but two clinkers the two previous seasons. There's Justin Madden. As we start this second term, Victoria lead by a point. They've got the gate of the breeze in this quarter. The State of Origin game from Subiaco Oval. Bounce down comes from umpire Johnson. It's one forward by Keane, who's back out there now. Will this lift WA's stocks? Going through the pack is Baker. Baker is claimed high by DP Domenico.
He's another player, Dennis, that would need to lift for WA. I think he had about 2 or 3 possessions only in the first quarter, and he can do a lot better than that.
Narkle yards in the clear. That's the direction the kick takes. He can move around that other side, Phil Narkle. Men on in the centre. He pulls it back, looking for Buckenara. Buckenara taking the tumbling mark. It was played. It did sneak out.
Maybe the umpire may have almost guessed at it. Unusual passage of play straight across the Narkle, perhaps predetermined before they started the quarter, and then Buckenara leading up the middle. Now he could, well, maybe give us a bit of a nudge, Dennis. He'll be kicking from 55 or thereabouts.
This will tell us about the breeze, because he can kick it a long way. It is a long kick, but it falls in short eventually. Holding up into the breeze. Offhand's a chance for Mitchell. Mitchell collided with by Royal. They're going in solidly. Kennedy and Peake don't like each other, and there's going to be a bounce.
I can understand Kennedy's point of view. He's kicked 3 goals on him.
Bounce down about 20 metres, 25 metres out from goal. Tommy Alvin just cruising through. Off hands, a chance for Healy to pick up the ball. He can't. Waiting behind. Folds dives after it in desperation for Victoria. Umpire Johnson decides he'll ball it up yet again. WA would like an early goal. For that matter, so would Victoria.
I think so.
Satori opposed to Madden. Madden won it down. Socket off the ground by Blackwell. Over the ball, Western Australia not making much progress. Blackwell goes back in, gets it to Buckenara, who misses. Gathered by Williams. Dexterous use of the hand pass. He shot it out, and Victoria take it to the outer side. Laurie Keane. He's agile for a big fellow. Look at that. Just gathers the ball in full stride. Me and my big mouth.
Well, it certainly deserved a lot better. He picked that up beautifully for a big fella, didn't he?
Why didn't you leave him alone, Dennis?
I'm sorry, Laurie.
But it happens every time, Dennis. They let you down when you give them the big rap. The ball goes back there towards Brereton. Good play by Lester Smith. Goes the thump on that time, and the ball is out of bounds on the centre wing position. Into this second quarter by 2 minutes. And it's Western Australia 4 goals, 4-28 to Victoria, 4-5-29. A very tough tussle. There's a go for Royal. He played a great game in the first quarter. Coming out as Taylor. He's got it again. Copped a heavy one that time. I think Laidley got him as he was going past, but he's okay. He's a big, strong boy. And, of course, he's already kicked 1 goal. Could have easily had another 2 on the board. Strong mark that time, Eric.
Yeah, Joseph perfectly. Laidley was never in any sort of a position to contest on that occasion, and perhaps all best he could have done is got in the road, which he partly did, but not enough, because Taylor now shouldn't have too many difficulties from here, Lou. Well, he's simple shot.
He's directly in front from about 35 metres out. There's the kick on its way, and that's a goal. The umpire didn't have to move for that one.
Starting with Keane winning it wide of the pack. Keane gets another attempt and moves the ball to Buckenara. Buckenara fires the ball into the path of Peake, and Peake has taken the mark. What a superb
that's
kick
15
by
metres, I suggest. That's the way it is.
No.
I think Peake's played a sensational game, but he kicked 3 goals in that first quarter. He's leading beautifully, Eric.
Not a bad pass in from Buckenara, though, either. Really.
Yeah, but you've got to make the lead, haven't you?
You do.
They're making space for him too, aren't they, to run into? There goes the Brian Peake kick. His 4th goal is on the board. Western Australia 5-4, Victoria 5-5. Top game of football as Waterson comes on and Miles comes off for Western Australia.
I know that our friends down at Geelong will be very pleased to know that Peake is playing so well, because he had a nickname when playing in Victoria at the final stages of his career. There was past his peak, and he's certainly not past his peak here today. He's kicked 4 goals. A fantastic effort by Peake.
There's the bounce. Put down by umpire Johnson. One down by Madden. Taken by Mullane. Dragged off the kick. It spills wide. Leading in the race now is Ellis. Dives on the ball. Well, almost. Poole comes through. Gets a hand pass to Royal. What a game he's playing. Down towards full forward. Half volley for Taylor. Clean bowl. Chance for Waitman. Putting his body in brilliantly was Hardy. Made some space for Waterson, who's just on the ground. And the 222s collide there as cannoning into Waterson was Taylor. The free kick in the opposite pocket has been awarded to Glendinning. He goes short to Rioli. Yards in the clear as McNish down the ground. That's the direction the kick takes. McNish drifting in, takes the mark. Over committed was Mullane. The hand pass comes across to Baker. Baker goes to right half forward. Buckenara. Peake is dropping back for him. Peake yards in the clear. Will the ball carry? Bounces awkwardly. Peake controls it. Goal number 5. Will it bounce?
Yes.
It's in.
What a performance Peake's putting up at the moment.
5 kicks, 5 goals. Well, you can't do much better than that, can you?
They call 100% football. And it even did an off break, so luck is falling his way. You watch it break the other way, Eric.
Well, just about held its own, I thought. I don't want to... The thing about Peake, though, he used his body superbly again, and that is an outstanding performance, and maybe Geelong might have thought that. Perhaps he didn't reach his real peak at Geelong. But
well, there's an old saying in Victorian football, when you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. Peake is certainly hot as the ball comes back towards the Victorian half-forward line, picked up by Blackwell. Oh, good mark to Tommy Alvin, a little bit too tall for little Mitchell. They're still in there doing pretty well. They're in front 40 points to Victoria 35. A 5-point leeway and a good mark to Brewer. A quick hand pass. Comes over to Waitman looking for Taylor. He's away from his opponent, but I think it'll beat him. It'll be out of bounds. Yes, out of bounds about 25 metres around from the Victorian goal. And they're trailing by 5 points. So Victoria in the hot seat.
Devin Brewer is absolutely killing Glendinning at the moment.
Yes, he's doing pretty well. And of course, this 40,000 crowd are right behind these West Australians. Oh, good knockout by Keane. We see Royal upended. The big beanpole knocked him down as he called timber, and down he went.
That was great stuff, actually. Great commitment, wasn't it?
Keane is doing as he did in the first 20 minutes or so of the first quarter. He's doing very well on the set about.
Well, I wouldn't take him off the ball. Ball comes back there, was knocked out by Taylor. Laidley can't pick it up, but he won't give it. A very determined player. They're good play on the part of Laidley. He couldn't pick it up, but he made sure nobody else was going to get it. So it'll be a ball up about 15 metres out from the Victorian goal. And as I said before, they're trailing by 5 points. Once again, it's the big fella Keane. Back to Laidley. Hardy's there. He's grabbed. Well tackled that time by Poole. And there we see Lamb. He was grabbed, was dropping the ball. Well tackled that time by Waitman. He's got a chance to score a goal here on a difficult angle, but he'd only be about 20 metres out from goal. Possibly 25. Right on the boundary line. A goal Victoria badly need because they're trailing by... Listen to that crowd giving him the raspberry now as he fires at the goals. Now that's 1 point, so the difference is 4 points into this second quarter by just over 7 minutes.
Waterson, former Richmond player, goes towards the outer side. Burton gets a fist in there. Victoria have got the numbers. 3-2, but it's a free kick WA's way. It'll be taken by Glendinning out there. Ross Glendinning at right half back for Western Australia. His hands full so far in this game with Dermot Brereton. Kicks towards centre wing. 3 West Australians up. Bad football. Untidy hand pass came across from Foles towards support there. Eventually, Mullane was over the ball. They managed to work it out, Victoria. Tapped out of the pack by Di Domenico, but over the ball now is Rioli on the outer side with runners free ahead of him. Uses the ball brilliantly. This is Davidson. Davidson with space in which to operate. Chips in short. Too much carry. Read brilliantly in defence by Carroll. He storms through for Victoria. Long kick to half forward. Over the top, Laidley. Almost a spectacular mark. Look at the balance there of Royal, surrounded by West Australians. To all points of the compass, there was a West Australian. He got the ball. He didn't do much with it. Pushed in the back was Hardy, and Hardy will take the free kick on the outer side.
Gee, she's really livening up, Dennis. Pretty hectic first quarter. I believe it's stepped up in tempo even further, and this is really spectacular.
Putting plenty of pressure as they go now for the little fellow Raw, but he couldn't get clear. And Hardy coming out of the pack. Brilliant play. Got out like a worm that time. Magnificent play. Oh, he wriggled his way up. Possibly like a vicious snake.
7.
There we see they go back. Oh, that's Narco. Listen to this crowd. They're really getting behind that team. And a magnificent pass over there to Buckenara, back to Narkle again. There's a go again, back there, down goes Alvin. And pushed on by Rioli, over to Wilson. Wilson got a chance to score from about 50 metres out. He goes for a pass. I thought he might have better shot the goals. Coming in now, the draws are going out for Satori. He's only got to get up, he gets a hand pass back, and McNeish has got it through. Oh, listen to
Keane goes up and wins, gets it down to Mitchell. Mitchell on the burst, gets it across to Satori. Satori sweeping hand pass to accommodate this man Davidson. Davidson goes down towards full forward. Peake is down there. In front is Pert. Pert fists away. Didn't go very far. Over the ball is Thompson. Peake claiming another Victorian in that congestion. And the umpire decides to bounce it, getting up gingerly as Foulds. Will have a bounce about 30 metres out from WA's attacking goal. Western Australia 8-4-52. Victoria 5-6-36. There's the bounce. It's one down by Salmon. Smothered off the boot of Ruse, spills out towards half forward. Davidson goes to ground. Blackwell in there working hard. It's picked up now by Williams. Victoria on a roll towards centre wing. In front is Healy. From behind is fisted away by Hardy. Healy the better recovery. Feeds a hand pass inside. Whiteman. Look at him run, but he left the ball behind. Opportunistic play by Hardy. Was he pushed in the back? Yes, he's going to get a free kick.
Bit lucky.
Hardy gets it across to Lester Smith. Lester Smith on the emblem. Goes down towards half forward. Not a good kick. Mullane gets back to take the mark. Up comes Carroll. Hurried kick high towards centre wing. Who'll be first back? Will it pitch in the field of play? Yes, it does. One bounce out of bounds. Will have a throw in at the 12.5-minute mark of this second term. At quarter time, Victoria led by a point. It's no coincidence WA's resurgence is linked to that man. Hands on hips, Laurie Keane. Salmon is now battling with him. No difference. Keane won it down, but it's sharked by Abuse. A high kick inside 50. Laidley going back. Storming out is Taylor. Waterson knocks it away from him close to the boundary line. Waterson content to run it out of bounds.
He had a quick look at the boundary umpire there in great hope that he hadn't noticed, but he's about 1.5 metres across, but he did the right thing, obviously.
16 points the difference at the 17-minute mark. It's been all West Australia so far. The big fellow again. That was knocked out by Taylor. Juggled by Hardy. He'll go for the boundary line. The ball is out about 25 metres around from the Victorian goal. Victorians appear to me very hesitant down there in defence. They're making a lot of mistakes and, of course, letting these West Australian forwards run wild. Ball back into play again. Knocked out by Keane. Well, there was a heavy bump that time to Lamb to Blackwell from Brereton. Stopped him in his tracks, but at least it's kept it in Victoria's attacking zone, only about 30 metres out from their goal. They're trailing by 16 points. Now they're in plenty of trouble if they want to win this championship. Knocked out by Taylor. Over it goes now. The ball comes back to Buse. We see Poole trying to get out, but they just swamp him. He had no hope. There was about 5 of them dived on him then.
No hope at all, Lou. They certainly swarmed on him, and really the tackling of West Australia in this early part of the second quarter has been a feature of their play.
Well, they're very aggressive, and they're looking good, 16 points in front. But the Victorians will bounce back. Don't worry about that. Knocked out by Taylor over there to Little Roy, but he couldn't get clear once again. We've got a bit of a stalemate here, about 25 metres out from the Victorian goal. Still 16 points the difference. And we're just on the 15-minute mark. Will that be a free kick? The umpire said no. I thought it could have been against Keane, but he said no. It was quite okay, and it'll be still a ball up, so we've had about 5 there in a matter of 2 minutes.
Well, Taylor was a bit stiff not to get a kick there.
That's right, I thought so. I thought it could have been against the big fellow.
There's the bounce. Keane opposed to Taylor.
That's a free
Got to
kick.
get it now.
Oh, no.
It's going WA's way.
Well, he may have said he balked him. I don't know. We'd like to see that again.
Lou, the thing is, I think if I lived to be 150, I would never understand the infringements that take place in ruck bounce downs. I would have given that to Taylor myself.
Well, Keane's got the free.
Oh, that's got to be to Taylor.
Blackwell at half-back, cuts infield. High kick towards the centre of the ground. Big pack at the fall of the ball off the hands of Wilson. Roving the pack. Run down brilliantly was Waitman by Wilson, but it's going to be a free kick to Waitman for a push in the back.
Well, technically maybe a good tackle, though, I thought, by Wilson, but he did certainly carry him forward a little bit of momentum, but not a bad tackle.
He came out of that pack as though he was catapulted, didn't he, Wilson? There goes the kick from Waitman down towards full forward. The big fellow is down there, Taylor. Get him in the mush. Running behind, a chance for Hardy. Hardy with ample time and a couple of good shepherds goes to the outer side. Intelligent use of the ball. Baker's got it. Where will he go? Narkle. No, Narkle is closed down the ground. Eventually, he's forced to kick in that direction. He didn't want to, and that's the reason why Di Domenico is simply too tall. Narkle really didn't work hard enough down the ground that time, Eric.
He had a couple of options, Baker, coming out. That was the worst of them, and he picked it, unfortunately, for WA.
The third of two options. There goes the kick in towards half forward. Keane was up, couldn't take the mark. Gets a hand pass out wide. Rioli surrounded, in trouble. Could have almost been holding the ball. Emerging with the ball now is Waitman. Waitman 40 metres out, kicks a goal for Victoria.
10, 9, ignition.
Great play by Williams. A long kick looking for Taylor. He dropped an easy one. Should have marked that. He fumbled it. There's Hardy going after it. Oh, great play. He's played it safe. It'll go out of bounds, but at least Victoria couldn't go deep into attack. And that was great play by Hardy.
Taylor did all the heavy work there, Lou, and once the ball came to him, he shouldn't have missed the mark for sure.
Ball out of bounds about 40 metres around from the Victorian goal. Ball pushed out by Satori. Well grabbed by Mitchell. A hand pass coming over to Baker. Baker goes for a pass, and what a beauty. Oh, it was too long that time. For Rioli, picked up that time by Foles. Hooks it back towards centre half forwards. Picked up again by Williams. The hand pass coming over now to Morwood. Out wide to Thompson. Thompson goes for a pass. Taylor's got this one. They can hardly drop it. He's already kicked 2 goals. He'd be about 40 metres out from goal by the time he kicks this one on a very slight angle, and Victoria trailing by 10 points.
And Taylor, once he gets that front position, he's got enough toe. He's not the fastest player I've ever seen, but he's got enough pace to hold on to the front position. And on that occasion, he did so fairly comfortably with Wallason on his heel. And again, this game is turning, and not coincidentally, Western Australia, I think, has taken Keane off the ball.
There's the kick on its way, and that's another goal to Victoria, so the difference only 4 points now into this quarter by just on 18 minutes. And that's 3 goals to Taylor. 8 goals for 52 Western Australia to Victoria 7-6-48. And this has been a crackerjack game here today.
Well, Victoria very prominent, Dennis, in the 2 key forward positions, aren't they? At centre half forward, Burton, I think, is well on top of Glendenning. And further down the ground, Taylor, 3 goals, perhaps could have done even a little bit better than that.
Always a danger, Taylor. Harding up on the ball now, opposed to Salmon. There's Williams working hard in that centre square. Mullane gets a hand pass out wide, and Victoria work it forward off the boot of Thompson. Out in front, Hughes takes the mark, plays on very quickly to Healy. Healy at right half forward, goes down towards the pocket. It'll pitch in front of Thompson. Was he interfered with? Not according to the umpire Johnson. Laidley gets back right on the boundary line. Laidley a little indecisive, and it's a good thing for WA. It was called out of bounds.
He kicked it straight back into a couple of Victorians, one of whom was Royal, who finished up with the ball, and the only other option he had really was Gerard Healy.
Dwayne Lamb is on the ground. Coming off is Wayne Blackwell, who worked hard while he was on. There's Blackwell wearing Robert Wiley's Guernsey as listed. One down by Harding. Going through the pack was Baker without the ball. It comes to Buckenara. Hurried kick out of defence. High grandstand side. Salmon should mark. Great work, in fact, there by Dwayne Lamb as he got Salmon out of the way.
Blocked him beautifully, didn't he?
Yep, and Satori over the top, but it's going to be a free kick to Salmon. Well, dare we say anything, Lou?
No, that's right, but I thought he did the right thing, the little fella, and the crowd agree with us too.
That's not surprising. Obviously, Salmon did too. He had a pang of conscience and kicked it straight to Lamb. Lamb goes down towards half forward, is knocked away from McNish. Waiting behind a chance for Carroll now. Carroll comes through the pack and sends Victoria back to their half forward line. Hardy.
Good body work by Glendenning, though, to get Brereton away from him.
You'd swear blind he had a leather magnet in his arms, wouldn't you?
Nobody likes him.
Wide, taken by Lester Smith. Lester Smith pulls it around the corner. Narkle with a chance to take it and run. He's confronted by Thompson. It spills across to Satori. Satori is taken high according to the umpire, and he wins a free kick on the outer side. There goes the kick from Satori down towards the right full forward pocket. Up in front was Buckenara. Crashing his way through there was Pert. Coming into the pack solidly to Mullane. Ball spills back to Pert. Pert gets it towards the boundary. In goes Peake. He goes to ground. Healy's over the ball now. Slaps it out only as far as Rioli. Rioli pulls it back looking for a more central location. Keane is surrounded. Brilliant tackle applied by Thompson. Should have been a Victorian free kick. Not paid. Picked up by Royal. He slung off it. In goes Mitchell. Mitchell, look at the Victorians around him. Was he grabbed by the leg? He's going to get a free kick.
Well, that was a free kick against Keane for sure for holding the ball.
No question. Mitchell goes down towards the pocket on a lead. Buckenara, and surrounded. Buckenara takes the mark, and a little bit more as cannoning into him was Gary Pert. Buckenara to take the kick in 15 metres, I'd suggest.
Not forthcoming, I don't believe. The distance wouldn't worry Buckenara anyway, Dennis. He certainly can roost that football. And in fact, he's come into prominence in the latter part, since the latter part of the first quarter. Precious kick this one. They all are, aren't they, in a tight situation like this?
Great game of footy. Buckenara close to the man on the mark. Puts it to the square. Laurie Keane almost the mark. Offhands Peak at number 6. Number 6, or did it brush the post? It brushed the post. But Carroll was quick to tell the goal umpire.
Well, his luck had to change, but he's played a magnificent game. Been a very dangerous player down there, Peak.
Buckenara's 5th kick for the quarter. Actually, you called it in commentary there, Dennis. Buckenara, for some reason, ran right up to the man on the mark, and it wasn't necessary, really.
Well, there's Gary Perth taking full advantage of being on the mark that time. Flying high was Wayne Harms on the ground. Picked up by Baker. He's collared by Williams. A good tackle. As a go for Waitman. A hand pass coming out now to Healy. Goes down. Lamb's into his back. Mullane can't get clear. Lamb's still going after them. Finally, it's ducking his head was Healy. Couldn't get it out. Baker's there too. He nearly copped the boot from Waitman. Picked up as he gets a hand pass to Buckenara. Cops Carroll, loses it. Backing up well as DP at a minute ago. Great tackle that time by Little Narkle. And the umpire will pull it up. They're certainly giving him plenty of latitude.
Very fierce, Lou. You don't get too many chances to go forward. In fact, it's very much a case of as soon as you get rid of it, big somebody's right on your hammer.
5 points the difference in favour of Western Australia. Knocked out by Harding. Picked up by Royal, who's played a crackerjack game here today. Now it goes towards Laidley. Couldn't get clear. He grabbed Waitman. The umpire still called play on. You've certainly got to earn your free kicks out there today. They're not giving any charities.
No way. And that's the way it should be too.
Well,
it's a pretty fierce game, and I think it's got to be allowed.
As long as you keep fair to one, fair to all, that's the most important thing.
Which I think they've done.
They have, yes. We won't growl about that. Knocked out by Harding again. Laidley gets a hurried kick back. Coming out to meet it is Alban flying. Oh, great mark. The Buckenara, a beauty. He was well covered in that first quarter by Carroll, but he's coming into his own now. Back she goes to the half-forward line, and there'll be a mark to Peak. And what a menace this bloke's turning out to be, but he's a long way out from goal. He's dropped it short. Salmon at the back was Wilson. No, it's Lamb. McNeish it is. Third go right. McNeish driving it up a chance now for little Mitchell. Got a hand to it. Couldn't hold the mark. Now the big fella's trying to get it. Victoria finally get it out to Mullane, but he's well grabbed that time by, but he was grabbed too high. Could have been lucky, Victoria. Mullane, over it goes to Perth, down there on the back pocket position. And there's plenty of pressure on now as the ball goes out of bounds on the centre wing position. Into this quarter by just on 24 minutes. That's the second. And it's West Australia, 8 goals, 5.53 to Victoria, 7.648.
Top game of footy, this one. Crowd of about 40,000 now. It's built up since the start of play. Salmon opposed to Harding. Comes forward, a chance for Waitman over the ball for Victoria. Emerging with it is Baker. He hasn't got it either. Williams robs him. Eventually it comes out to Royal. Royal drives it down towards right half forward. Out of bounds on the full, and a Footscray teammate will take the free kick this afternoon, of course, representing Western Australia, the reigning Brownlow medalist, Brad Hardy. Brad Hardy from half-back. Slight lull in proceedings as he drives it along the grandstand side. The spectacular leap from behind was from Morwood. Wide of the pack, a chance for Williams. Williams is claimed by Lamb. Ball is jarred free. In goes Lester Smith. A hurried kick towards half forward. Mitchell, almost a spectacular mark. Deflection comes back to Waitman. He's surrounded and confronted. He goes to ground. On top of him is Mitchell, who came back after the ball. And there's going to be a bounce inside the centre square.
Makes you pretty glad you're too old to be out there, doesn't it?
I think so. It's been very willing. Ruckman almost back to back. It's won out well by Salmon, but taken by McNish. The hand pass not a good one. Shark by Thompson towards half forward. Danaher's in front, and he takes the diving mark.
Been a pretty quiet play today, Danaher. Very quiet. I think he's only had about 4 possessions.
Danaher comes out wide. In front is Harding. Taylor showed a lot of pace to work his way to the front. Waterson the scrambled kick. Lamb with a chance now. He's a deft playmaker. What will he do? He's looking down the ground, measures his options. High kick towards Rioli. Rioli drifting in. Brilliant fist away there from Ruse. Ruse appears to be hurt. He's lying on the ground back behind the play. Rioli picks it up. Ruse is on his feet, but as you can see, he's not moving too well. Goes back after the ball. Needs support. Kicked with that injured leg by all accounts. Not a good kick. He comes again. A lot of courage there from Paul Ruse. Not to much effect. It's gathered by Baker. Baker goes down towards the pocket and Peak. And what a good mark that was.
Well, he's amazing me right through this season. In fact, he has with his aerial work. Certainly not notorious for his great overhead work, but there's the kick, a high one coming in. And Brian Peak will get the front position and hang on to it. And that's his 5th mark. Not a bad effort for a player of his size.
I know Ron Alexander had to convince a few other selectors that Peak was the man for full forward. My word, he's been vindicated this afternoon. High kick into the full forward area. Albin can't control it. Roos held without it. He'll take a free kick.
Well, Roos has got the free. He's played a pretty good game down there at centre half back for Victoria. Limping a little bit. Finally, hand passed over to Perth, a short one. Little Royal grabs it there on that 50-metre defensive line. He's got plenty of room to kick this one long, but it's not a great kick. It'll come out to Hardy, overruns the ball. You don't often see him do that. But Glenn Denning backing up. He's got a paddock to move in here. Short pass, it'll be okay, and the ball marked here now by Hardy. Got the nasty one that time from Williams. Got a 15-metre penalty, a hand pass coming back now to Hardy again. And the West Australians go into attack again. Carroll plays. He's put off balance that time by Satori. Grabbed by Thompson. Peake still there too. Thompson got a hand pass out, but Mitchell snapped that up pretty quickly. Over it goes to Davidson up towards the full forward position. Up the top of the pack. Here's a go for Buckenara. It'll be a goal. And listen to the crowd going wild here at Subiaco Oval. So now we see Victoria still in plenty of trouble. 9 goals, 5-59 West Australia. To Victoria, 7-6-48.
Well, that was absolutely superb use of the body there by Buckenara. He didn't want to contest the mark. Laurie Keane is being taken from the ground, and that's amazing to me. He's been the best player for West Australia in my book. Buckenara, 2 kicks to quarter time. He's had 6 since then, and he's really been a dominant half forward.
And Carroll has been carried off.
Oh, that's bad news for Sydney.
Dennis Carroll has been carried off by some Victorian trainers. In fact, I think they're de facto Victorian trainers, local trainers from the Subiaco club by the looks of things. Meantime, the ball is in centre field. Diving on top of it is Glendenning. He's claimed, and there's going to be a bounce.
Well, that's bad luck for Carroll. Of course, he's had a sensational season. He's in a bit of trouble down there on the boundary line too.
Bounce from umpire Castle. Western Australia 9-5-59. Victoria 7-6-48. Trying to push his way through the pack was Baker, gathered by Mullane. A kick towards half forward for Victoria. WA with the numbers. Lester Smith took a risk. Mitchell fell over, does it brilliantly. Tried to get the ball out of the pack to Laidley. There's going to be a Victorian free. It'll go to Royal. Royal held without it on the 50-metre line, foxing for 15 metres, which would put him within scoring range. Not forthcoming. Glendenning stands the mark.
13th kick for Royal. Dennis, he's been a very busy player.
He and Waitman both playing exceptionally well. The 2 prime movers for Victoria today. Royal, a long telling kick towards full forward. And they're a little bit proppy, the West Australians, getting back to give some tall coverage there.
Well, in fact, nobody was behind the goal line for the big leap over the top, which is fairly common these days, I guess. I would have thought it might have been worth a chance.
9-5-7-7. WA lead at Waterson, favouring the outer side. Looking for Lamb. Waitman puts his body in. Lamb, almost a brilliant one-hander, not paid. Going in solidly was Buse. Back comes Waitman. And there's going to be a bounce.
Funny, there's a siren for half-time. A strange place to kick for Waterson. Lamb out number 2-1.
So half-time in this State of Origin game at Subiaco Oval, and Western Australia lead at 9-5-59 to Victoria's 7-7-49. Back shortly.
Areas, and there's not a lot of movement from that area at the present moment, but when the ball rolls free, we seem to be using the ball a little bit better at this point of time.
And just going back to the defence has stood up very well to the pressure, and Brad Hardy's influence has been outstanding.
Hardy's playing well, yes. Taylor posed a problem early. He was too good for Miles, and the Victorians worked the ball to Taylor very well. He kicked 3 goals, and it was a little bit unfortunate. He just spilled a couple, and it could have been 5 to his credit. But they generally lack a forward other than Taylor at the present moment. Danaher they're trying to plug gaps with, and they've lost a few players through injury, and it's unbalanced the side a little. So, you know, they're going to have a player like Harms in the forward line. I don't think Harms a forward myself, but may have played there many times, but he impresses me as a backman more than anything. So maybe Danaher's the player they've got to move up forward, and hopefully he'll give him something to kick at.
A player, I know Western Australia's doing well, and we're in front at half-time, but I'm surprised that Wayne Blackwell, who's really proved himself in Victoria, spent so much time off the ground.
I think we're working the bench okay. We're working our smaller players through the bench, and I think that's the name of the game, prop up the areas that really count. And even Wilson, who generated some run, has only been on in short bursts, and I think that's the way to use him. But if we can keep our run going, we'll win the game. If Victoria are able to be in the game at three-quarter time, I think their strength may win through.
Well, you've been in the position of state coach on a number of occasions. What would your message be to the West Australians at half-time?
Well, the third quarter's vital. It's make or break. It'll win the game for us, and if we can get a break in this third quarter, I think we can hold our lead to the end. But if the Victorians are close, I can assure you it's not going to be easy.
And really, Kevin Sheedy, like I listened to him at quarter time, he was pleased with the way the Victorians came back after WA got 3 goals on the board, but it seems to be a case of them giving WA a start in each quarter, but it can't happen this quarter, can it, really, if they get in?
No, I think all coaches stress that to their to your charges. You know, a make-or-break quarter, you like to be in front at three-quarter time and them chasing you. And many games are won and lost in this quarter, so this is an interesting quarter, and it'll prove who will win the game. I believe whoever's in front at three-quarter time will win the game.
Well, thanks very much, John, for your words, and let's hope you're right. And back to you, Dennis, in the commentary position.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Ken. There's the city skyline. The scoreline is 59 plays 49. Half-time at Subiaco in the State of Origin encounter. We'll be back talking about that first half in just a moment. 9-5, Victoria 7-7, principal goal kickers, in fact all of them. Brian Peake 5, a sensational first half. The surprise move, he went to full forward, it paid dividends, a masterstroke so far by Ron Alexander. And singles to Rioli, McNish, Buckenara and Wilson. For Victoria, Brian Taylor has 3, and singles to Waitman, Royal, Healy and Brereton. Here are some highlights from the first half. Baker breaks away for Western Australia, kicks towards half forward. Buckenara hand. That was deft enough as the ball came to Rioli. Rioli too far out to score. Long kick towards the square. Peake.
Oh, yes.
A deft touch from Buckenara. And the ball found this man who finds the goal. So
the ball picked up by Mitchell, showing a lot of pace. As they go for Narkle, he's at centre half forward, goes for a pass to Ripper. And does Peake look dangerous down there at the moment?
No mark taken. It comes to Williams. Williams gets it wide, taken on the outer side then by Buse. Buse feeds it into Royal. Royal now with time. Shocking kick into the forward line. Brilliantly gathered on the half volley by Waitman. Out it comes to Alvin. 25 metres out. Draws a man over the top. Brereton. Brereton 5 metres out and closing. Pops it through.
He did act a little bit, Danaher. Lester Smith wasn't too happy. There's a lead coming from Taylor. He's got it again. By a call play on Waitman again. Over it goes now, and Healy has a running shot at goal. That'll come around nicely. That's a goal, and Victoria have hit the front.
Mitchell's got it. Some support, moral if nothing else, was lent by Narkle. Mitchell chips it down looking for Satori. Satori gets the half volley, crashes past a teammate, gets it across to Rioli. Hurried kick towards full forward. Right up at Rioli. WA's fourth. They're 4-3. Victoria 4-5. And moves the ball to Buckenara. Buckenara fires the ball into the path of Peake, and Peake has taken the mark. They're making space for him too, aren't they, to run into? There goes the Brian Peake kick. His fourth goal is on the board. Peake yards in the clear. Will the ball carry? Bounces awkwardly. Peake controls it. Goal number 5. Will it bounce?
Yes!
It's in. Frey Thompson trying to make amends. Rioli quickly onto the boot. Courage going back brilliantly. Mitchell. It's with Wilson. Wilson inside 25. He's storming towards goal. He puts it through.
Well, the little fellow raw, but he couldn't get clear. And Hardy coming out of the pack. Brilliant play. Got out like a worm that time. Magnificent play. And pushed on by Rioli over to Wilson. Wilson got a chance to score from about 50 metres out. He goes for a pass. I thought he might have had a shot the goals. Coming in now. The doors are going out for Satori. He's only got to get up. He gets a hand pass back. And McNeish has got it through.
Rioli surrounded in trouble. Could have almost been holding the ball. Emerging with the ball now is Waitman. Waitman 40 metres out. Kicks a goal for Victoria.
Coming over now to Morwood, out wide to Thompson. Thompson goes for a pass. Taylor's got this one.
And not coincidentally, Western Australia, I think, has taken Keane off the ball.
There's the kick on its way, and that's another goal to Victoria, so the difference only 4 points now. Harding again. Laidley gets a hurried kick back. Coming out to meet it is Alvin flying. Oh, great mark. The Buckenara, a beauty. He was well covered in that first quarter by Carroll, but he's coming into his own now. Back she goes to the half-forward line, and there'll be a mark to Peake. And what a menace this bloke's turning out to be, but he's a long way out from goal. He's dropped it short. Salmon at the back was Wilson. Wilson. Now it's Lamb. It goes to Davidson up towards the full forward position. Up the top of the pack. Here's a go for Buckenara. It'll be a goal. And listen to the crowd going wild here at Subiaco Oval.
Some of the highlights from the first half. And you thought it was only steady drinking in the first half, didn't you? Now, that takes a bit of doing, Will. I mean, it's only on a good night I can do that.
Well, that's how Jack Dyer drives his car all the time. And he does it from the back seat, too.
Long legs. Let's take a look at some stats on the first half.
That's unbelievable.
What do they tell us, Eric?
Well, they tell us that Victoria, well, Western Australia had 17 more kicks. They had 5 more marks and hand passed 9 fewer times, or 11 rather, mainly because of the influence of Williams in the centre of the ground, who used the hand pass on 10 occasions, mostly effectively. Free kick, West Australia 18, Victoria 14, not much in that. Hit outs, Victoria 20 to 17. I rather thought that Laurie Keane had done better than that, and shots at goal 14 apiece. It's pretty even.
I think they may have picked that up when that Hardy went on the...
I was going to say.
Even out,
yeah, I think it did. I think Keane was well on top of Madden, and that's why they brought Salmon onto the ground. I was rather surprised they took him off the ground, as a matter of fact.
Yes, the bulk of that 20 probably came from the first half. We'll be back shortly, but in the meantime, we'll pause for this commercial break. So WA pretty keen to get on with things. They're out in the ground very early. We saw the collective stats just before we went to that break. What about some of the individual breakdowns there, Eric?
Well, some rather outstanding performers emerge out of all this. From the West Australian point of view, Dennis, Rioli, 12 kicks in the centre of the ground. He really has been his usual wizard himself. He's had 14 possessions. Mitchell's had 13 possessions. 7 of those were hand passes. Narkle 7 possessions. Baker 9. Peake 8. That's 5 of those in goals, of course. Blackwell 7. I agree with John Todd. I'm a little bit surprised that Blackwell is a real hard burrowing sort of a player. Wasn't on the ground more of the time. Further down the ground, Hardy 11. He was quite inspirational, I thought, in that second quarter. And Buckenara, after being badly beaten by Carroll early on, came into the play and had 8 kicks and 3 hand passes for 11 all told. For Victoria, Williams with 7 kicks and 10 hand passes. He certainly uses that hand pass superbly. He's had 17. Royal, the leading kick get on either side, really, with 13. 1 hand pass for 14 possessions. Waitman's had 11 possessions. Mullane 10. Healy 9. And Paul Roos, who I believe has been a fairly useful player, has had 8 possessions. But interesting, Dennis, talking about the Victorian key forwards. Now, Taylor's done his job very well, and as Todd said, he should have kicked 4 or 5 goals. Brereton, I thought, beat Glendinning badly in the first quarter, but was kickless, in fact, in the second. Now, that means that the very, very important avenue at centre-half forward was closed for the Victorians, and credit must go to Glendinning for that. And now, of course, it remains to be seen how the Victorians can butter up again.
I think you must agree, too, that it's mainly the small men that are doing the damage for Victoria. Like you mentioned, Waitman, Royal doing very well, and, of course, Healy and Williams are superb in the centre. But then again, when you look at Williams playing so well in the centre, you've got to say, well, what about Rioli? He's probably been possibly a little bit more not only constructive but destructive, and that's helped them. And I think John Todd did mention before that Victoria looked a little slow, but I just feel where they're falling down, they're relying a little bit too much on Taylor, and when the ball does go up there, there's not enough smaller players crowding around to pick up a few crumbs and kick a quick goal.
Lou, the normal fear, I think, of the Western Australian side perhaps is now there's Salmon and Madden both on the Victorian side, both superb aerialists. Haven't taken a mark, in fact, I've hardly sighted it in the goal square area. Now, Taylor, of course, has done his share, but surely one of those players playing from a forward pocket would pose all sorts of problems. But there hasn't been a big grab taken by one of those tall players in the Victorian full forward area.
Well, one of the worst things that's happened to Victoria, of course, Carroll's gone off the ground, and it looks as though it could be a pretty serious knee injury by the way he was carried off the ground, and that would be a very severe blow to the Swans, who have relied on him so much, not only with his great play this year, but his inspirational captaincy. And he's a player that will be missed out here with Victoria too, because, as you said, he was well on top of Buckenara. Buckenara, about halfway through that second quarter, bounced back and looked dangerous. But I think you've got to give full marks to Peake. This has been a superb performance, and most people in Victoria thought he was washed up, and to see him do so well, it's just unbelievable. And full marks to Peake too.
Yeah, Lou, I think in fairness to Brian Peake, I believe he delayed his move to Melbourne by about 3 years too long.
Oh, there's no doubt he's a brilliant player, and he's performed here today magnificently.
In the terms of years, I don't think he was too old. He's about 27 years of age when he went over there, but I believe that he's a battle-worn player, and by the time he got to Victoria, I think if he hadn't passed his peak, he certainly was very... Well, he certainly had, in fact, I think, and I always thought it was a pity. I used to speak to him from time to time about when he's going to Victoria, and he never showed a great deal of interest, and I think that's a tragedy, really, because I believe him to be one of the greatest West Australian players we've produced in the last 15 years, and I would like to have seen him done better over there. I believe he certainly had the skill to do better, but at least he's showing the Victorian crowd and back in Melbourne today that he's still not a spent player.
Well, Victoria are starting off with Madden in the ruck again, but I think we've got to give full marks to that big fella, number 25 for West Australia, Keane.
I think, talking about influential players, Lou, I would say he's been the most influential of all.
Outstanding. Okay, so about to start this second half. Western Australia lead by 10 points. Umpire Castle holds the ball aloft. The State of Origin game. Past halfway now. Keane and Madden to do the ruck work. The bounce favours Madden. He wins it down. It's taken there by Morwood. The hand pass not a particularly good one. And that was a blatant push in the back to Royal, as you saw. No. Well, if you're going to have free kicks, they take all the controversy out as Royal plays on, drives down towards half forward. At the fall of the ball, WA well represented, but Brereton, kickless in the second term, comes across the face of the pack and takes a very strong mark. Dermot Brereton too far out to score, goes down towards the right full forward pocket, ill-directed, and Lester Smith is made to work for that mark. Brian Taylor rather crude.
Still working for it.
Yeah, it's almost a submission hold.
I think they're firing for Taylor a little bit too much, Victoria, instead of going directly at the goals and hoping to God they can pick up a few crumbs down there too, because that was a bad pass. Taylor had no hope at all, Eric.
No, true.
Lester Smith has gone on with the business. The result of his kick sees the ball off hands. Harms gets a hand pass across to support. Poole's kick not a particularly good one. Wobbles across the face of the ground. Chance for Di Domenico. In comes Thompson. In fact, it was Thompson who kicked it initially, I think.
I would have
penalised ground.
Di Domenico for holding the ball on that occasion. I don't believe he made any.
No, he didn't either.
Bounce from umpire Johnson on the point of the square, the attacking side of centre for Victoria. Out towards right half forward, in fact for Western Australia. One down by Madden, fisted on by Rioli, knocked on in turn by Wilson, taken by Harms of Victoria. Gets a hand pass to Kennedy. Kennedy from half back, a high kick towards centre wing, working his way in front. Hughes couldn't take the mark. Di Domenico's got it now, gets a hand pass to Royal. What a game he's played, well, but knocking it away from him this time, Western Australia's Miles. Hand pass comes out to Davidson. Davidson uses the ball brilliantly, finds Mitchell. Mitchell will go long to the square. Dropping back is McNish. Buckenara in from the side, played the mark.
Free kick.
I think he marked it, Lou.
Yeah,
I would have played the mark.
Both, well, he could have got both there, Eric.
Beautiful piece of play there by McNish, who led into the open spaces to call for that ball. I'd play that a mark or a free kick, please yourself. But I thought McNish read that ball beautifully and created that opportunity, even though now Buckenara should get the glory for it.
He's kicked one goal so far. Gary Buckenara 15 metres out, directly in front, a chance to stretch WA's lead. In he comes deliberately, and he steers it right through the middle.
We've seen a whole lot of champions in Australia. On any sea, Australia's champion colour team.
Get a quick goal here, chance for Madden. Grabs that one, it's not a good kick. It'll come out. Oh, there's nearly a free kick to Victoria, but it's picked up by Buckenara. Coming into the game since about halfway through the second quarter. Rioli with a beautiful hand pass. Coming over now to Mitchell. Up it goes towards Peake. He's got the sit here. He's going to let this go. Good play on the part of Peake. Magnificent play. Oh, gosh, they're running well now. A 22-point lead. And, of course, Victoria had to win by 25 points to win the championship, and they're not going to win it the way they're going at the moment.
Now, this is the play that set it up. Again, Rioli's superb hand pass. Now, Mitchell closing on the 50-metre line. Peake had dropped back and is calling for that ball. Now uses his body superbly to get Danaher out of the way and through for another precious goal to Victoria, Western Australia.
22 points the difference. West Australia looking $1 million. Knocked out that time by Matt, not a good one. Going through for Victoria was Williams, who's played a pretty good game in the centre, but just the same, Rioli's been a superb player in the same position for West Australia. A very creative player. Madden got the tap down, but Victoria can't drag it away. It's a hand pass coming out to Williams from Morwood. The ball shot over the half-forward line. Taylor having a bat as they go now. The ball picked up here by Sam and over to Waitman. This could be a score. He straightens up, fires at the goals. Not badly needed one. Yes, a goal to Victoria. They'll bounce back. Don't worry about that. Just on the 5-minute mark, we see the difference, 16 points again.
Yes, I don't think anybody would doubt that. There goes the hand pass out as despite the desperate efforts of Waterson, Waitman, too much pace and well shepherded, got the break he needed and steered through his second goal, and he really has been one of Victoria's better players. We mentioned 6 hand passes and 5 kicks to half-time. It looks as though he's going on with the business.
Bounce back in the centre. Madden and Keane go to it. It's one down by the West Australian. Di Domenico put a hand in there, couldn't control the ball.
Well, actually got in the way of Royal that time. He was coming out with it, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. It's Phil Narkle, plus the headgear. Bounce down beside the centre circle. Madden and Keane working hard. Rioli tries to go through the pack. Di Domenico in all sorts of trouble there. Alvin goes in. Di Domenico doesn't move it far. Spills across towards Blackwell. Alvin knocks it out of the pack intelligently. Royal once more. What a game he's played. Kicks down towards half foot. Great desperation from Miles. Taken by Lester Smith. Great stuff by the WA defence as Lester Smith sends it to the outer side. Drifting back, the mark is taken out there by Mitchell. That must be 15 metres.
He's an explosive player, Mitchell, and if he, in fact, he's got that 15 metres you're after, Dennis.
Mitchell, where will he go? Down towards the pocket. Shocking kick, and the mark is taken in defence by the Footscray defender Rick Kennedy, who kicks it high. Other side, pack into the air. A Victorian player was held approaching the ball out there, and the free kick will be taken by Morwood.
Ridiculous. West Australia had the numbers and didn't need to do it.
Morwood goes wide. Mark taken by Healy. Healy's on centre wing. Looks inside. The hand pass comes back to Morwood, who runs towards half forward. Kicks across that line. WA there in number. And a splendid one-hander is dragged down by Rod Lester Smith. Feeds a hand pass to Hardy. Hardy out of defence comes grandstand side. The target is Saturi. Knocked away by Kennedy. Roving the pack, it's Thompson. Thompson to Victoria. Looking downfield. Goes for distance. Not a good kick. Keane should be in the way. Fists away, in fact, from Royal. Well, David and Goliath. Royal with courage goes back after the ball yet again. They're on top of the ball down there, and the umpire calls for a bounce. Brian Royal showing plenty of courage and endeavour. No doubt the best Victorian on the ground.
7 minutes gone of this third quarter. 16 points the difference. That's McNeice gets it over that time. The ball driven by Baker across to centre field, and Rioli's got it. Look at him go as he goes for a magnificent pass. And a great great pass from Rioli, over to Rioli, that time on a goal. Great play on the part of Wilson. Magnificent.
These powerful new Hoover suction cleaners make light work of even.
22 points the difference. And they're looking good again, West Australia. Victorian, plenty of trouble. Knocked out by Matt. Miles trying to get clear. It's picked up by Healy, so Victoria have got a chance to go into attack. Out it goes to Alvin. 60 metres out from goal. Oh, a shocking pass looking for Taylor. Taylor's upended. Good play on the part of Lester Smith going through Healy again. Ducked, he goes down, gets it out to Alvin. He's in plenty of trouble. There's 4 against him. Now Waitman. Waitman springs away from the pack. Brilliant play by the little rover. Shot at goal, but he's off target. Oh, it's marked there, right on the line, I think.
Hit the
play Morwood.
Well, that was a little bit unfortunate for Victoria there, really, because Morwood took the mark, but it crossed the line for a point, and
yes, and well, it was bad. I thought he might have had it.
Waterson kicking towards the outer side for Western Australia. 1-out contest. It's knocked away by Williams, taken by Brereton, gets it to Healy. Healy about 40 metres out. Goes Goldwood. Hasn't got the carry. WA have got the numbers down there. Up with Salmon. Socket off the ground by Morwood. What's he done? It's a behind. Bad luck. Quick thinking by Morwood. Ball was on the ground, and quickly Morwood arriving on the scene. Assessed the situation.
No doubt about these Swans players, Dennis, is there?
No, none at all. Glendinning comes grandstand side. Back into the air. McNish from behind gets a fist in there. It goes out of bounds. Throw in. Left half forward for Victoria. They trail 8-9 to 12-5. We've played close to 9 minutes in the third term. Madden doing the ruck work and wins it backward of the pack. It's taken, though, by Baker. Baker the high kick towards centre wing. Up trying to fist away there was Pert. He was up by himself. Socket off the ground. Lucks a fortune. Folds got it to Alvin. Alvin kicks it out wide. Intelligent kick as he finds Brereton about 45 metres from goal. Brereton sees Royal. He played on. No, he didn't, according to the umpire. Now he does as he slips behind Lester Smith. Kicks it down towards full forward. WA there in number. And the timely defensive mark is taken by Glendinning. Glendinning feeds it across to Laidley. Laidley comes out of the back pocket, doesn't really look. He's made the job very hard for Phil Narkle. Offhands a chance for Di Domenico. Chips it in short, and the mark is taken down there by Morwood for Victoria.
Yes, talk about cool under pressure. That the temptation could have been there for a dipper to go for the big shot in toward full forward. But Morwood, as he so often does, drifted across to this half forward line into open space, and a chance to kick a very, very badly needed goal for Victoria.
Tony Morwood has pulled it. Costly miss. Victoria 8-10. Trail Western Australia 12-5.
And we're just on the 10-minute mark of this third quarter. A crucial one for Victoria. Waiting on a short pass coming out that time from Waterson, and a good one. And marked there by Laidley. Laidley down there on the back pocket for West Australia. The kick is back towards the Half back line punched out by Davison. Oh, Madden's grabbed. He had no hope of getting clear, but backing up well as Mullane takes it on the boundary line. Looking there for Taylor again. Did he get one in the back? The umpire's not taking any notice of that one. Glendenning takes the mark. Short pass grabbed by Baker. Oh, this will be a 15-metre penalty against Williams, but he stopped him in his tracks. The ball back towards Davison on his own. They're certainly creating the loose man pretty well, West Australia. He's round about the centre-half back position, over the half-forward line. Buckenara knocked out that time by Perth.
Meanwhile, the ball's got to go back. The umpire's insisting on doing his way. He's brought the ball back to invoke the 15-metre penalty, which Davidson will now take.
Well, it's about a 350-metre penalty, that one. So Davidson's right past the centre of the ground, now down towards centre-half forward. Ball coming out there towards that half-forward flag. They both go down that time, Mitchell and Thompson. There we see Waitman having a great battle there with McNish, and the umpire said it'll be a ball up about 35, 40 metres out from the West Australian goal. West Australia 77 points to Victoria 58. They're really in the hot seat. Little Waitman's done a great job as vice-captain here today. Shoots the ball across to centre-half forward. Oh, that's the mark by Miles. Oh, how was that for a grab?
Talk about getting up, Miles.
He certainly can jump. Intended for Blackwell, knocked away by Healy, who does well on the ground. Brereton soccers off the ground, down towards half forward for Victoria. He sets Salmon a task, who's coming down to meet the ball. Well played, big fellow. Gets it across to Royal. Royal 50 metres out. There's a vacant goal square. Pulls it across to Morwood by hand. Morwood brilliantly onto Taylor. It's fitting that Royal will finish it off. Goal to Victoria.
Australia's richest resort is now the target of
77 to 64. Ball back in the centre. Brian Royal's a Bairnsdale boy, isn't he, Lou?
Yes,
lapping it up
young
there.
Country lad, but he's doing well today.
Oh, marvellous game. Back in the centre. Up goes Madden, opposed to Keane. No one got it out. In goes Williams. A chance now for Healy. It spills wide. It's picked up by Waitman. Waitman threads it across, looking for support. Battling hard out there. Victoria going nowhere. Folds in the thick of it. And there's going to be a bounce out on the line of the square.
Waitman's played a great little game too for Victoria.
Yes, they're the two players probably that have kept them in this game, all things considered. Carroll early, he's off the ground now with injury. Taken by Keane, brilliant ruck stuff as he gets it inside 50. The bouncing ball, he'll be first to arrive. Kennedy pushed in the back, that's a soft one.
Very delicate free kick.
Mind you, the umpiring generally has been first class so far in this game. Foles was tripped that time. He'll take the free kick in the right back pocket.
He was lucky to get that foul because he had his back turned on the play when Kennedy hand passed him. It was a bad hand pass by Kennedy, just the same.
Peter Wilson doesn't think a great deal of it either.
No, he didn't like the decision. This is Foles in the back pocket. Really does. High kick. The big fellows go to it. Neither of them wanting to try for the mark there. Keane and or Madden. It fell at their feet, battling in hard. A couple of tyros. Thompson and Blackwell. They like it in there. Another bounce on the outer side. Down towards left half forward for Western Australia. Backward of the pack, a chance for Alvin. He goes to ground, but not before he got it across to Mullane. Mullane by hand to Waitman. Waitman in turn back to Alvin. Tries to crash his way through the pack. He's claimed. Down goes McNish. It's going to be a West Australian free. No play allowed to go on. In fact, the whistle has gone and it will come back.
Well, usually they let that go, don't they? Play the advantage. I thought that might have been the case again then, but nope.
I thought he'd let that go with the advantage rule. He didn't. He penalised West Australia then. Miles driving it across there, punched away from Wilson. There's one right behind the ear that time to Williams. Stunned him completely.
Peter Wilson is not afraid to go in with some vigor, but I think that's a little bit
That was Wilson. I think he'll be okay, but it certainly stunned him. Stopped him right in his tracks.
Pretty tough customer though, Greg Williams, isn't he, Lou?
I think the guy that whacked him once a pretty tough sort of a cookie too, if you ask me. Finally, it goes over to Wayne Harms. Drives the ball long, but there's no one there for Victoria's shocking bit of play then as it goes out there wide to Lester Smith. Out towards the wing position. A fumble, but it doesn't matter. And they drive the ball over the half-forward line through Baker. And there's Peake. Nearly grabbed that one. Danaher playing at full-back now. Peake looking for a free kick. He's already kicked 5 goals. Turned in a performance in that first half that any player would be proud of.
See that a little bit closer. I just wonder whether it might have been not a mark, certainly, but in the back.
That's knocked out by Madden over to Healy, falls short. And the ball grabbed here by Morwood. He's got a 15-metre penalty. This brings him over the half-back line. Drives it out towards the centre of the ground. Brereton flies. Got under that one. A fumble. Brereton still goes after. Knocked on by Keane. A fumble by Mullane. Mullane is grabbed that time by Monaco. There's we see DiPiero Domenico over to Morwood. Out wide again to Williams. Always does something with it, this fella. This time it's a long kick. Putting his teammates. Good play by Lester Smith. Went the punch. Kicked off the ground by Raw. But there's Brad Hardy. got around Brereton beautifully, left him for dead, and a beautiful pass out there to Davidson, and West Australia get the ball out of the danger zone.
Great kick by Hardy. Davidson chips in short. Baker coming to meet the ball. Showed a lot of courage and commitment there, and he took the mark. Midway between half-back and centre, Leon Baker goes looking for Buckenara. Was he interfered with? No free kick. Wilson tries to hatchet his way through. Succeeded too. His arm was like a machete as he kicks it down towards the pocket. Brilliant mark is taken by Peake.
Three players on Brian Peake in that contest, Dennis, and he outdid them all. That really was the best, I believe, of his marks. High ball coming in. There's Peake. One arm almost retarded. And players coming from everywhere, and Brian Peake stood his ground. And this could be a precious kick again for Brian Peake and West Australia.
Here's kick 5. Magnificent effort. It's just swinging left. I think it's good enough. No, it's a behind. It didn't miss by much, that effort by Brian Peake. Western Australia 12-6, lead Victoria 9-10. We've played 16.5 minutes third term. State of Origin game at Subiaco Oval. And Gary Folds takes a deep breath, a couple of them. Will come grandstand side. There goes his kick high. Deepia Domenico has a height advantage, a decided one over Narkle. Narkle does well to get it down to Keane. Keane a clever deflection. Got it to Rioli. Rioli 55 metres out. Launches it long towards full forward. Satori is down there for Western Australia. Fisted away by Kennedy. Roving the pack. Buckenara. Nowhere to go. And finding the safety of the boundary line was Folds. Will have a boundary throw in right full forward.
West Australia 12 goals, 6 to Victoria 9-10. Well, out of bounds on the 25-metre mark in their attacking zone. There we see Madden trying to get it out. Falls on top of the ball, and the umpire will ball it up in the same position just about. Well, the crowd are certainly getting a treat as far as the football's concerned today. They just love every moment that Peake goes near the ball. They just really come up in one big voice, don't they?
Certainly do.
Here we go again. Knocked out that time by Madden. Rioli's kick is smothered by Thompson. Bit of a fumble going on. Thompson gets the ball out now. Pert goes for a hand pass, but put Healy under pressure. Back to Deepia Domenico. They're messing about. Well picked up by Narkle. Out it comes to Buckenara. At the boundary line was too close, and it's out of bounds. About 30 metres around from the West Australian goal. They're in front by 14 points. Ball back into play again. Picked up here now by Wayne Harms. Gets around his opponents nicely. He's gone for a kick. But it's a shocker. Oh, it's okay. It dropped a bit short. The ball marked here by Waitman. Been a fine play today, Waitman. Half forward. Oh, chance for Morwood to get clear. 50 metres out. A hand pass coming over to Royal. Oh, he copped a heavy bump from Miles, but rode that beautifully as he fires it up towards the goals. Alvin's got a chance here.
Whoa.
He's got it. That was a gutsy mark. You can hear him coming. The stampede at the back of you there. And you've got to stand your ground. And he did that. That was a great mark.
I'll tell you what, Brereton was a bit belated going for this mark. Watch this again. Brereton comes over the top, and I don't think he's much concerned about the ball. Down goes Glendinning, and Brereton, I think, was after Glendinning with intent there. Following it through, he landed on him with a knee drop in that forward pocket. But Alvin's got the ball, and that's the only thing concerning both sides at the moment. Alvin, left full forward pocket. He's normally a defender, but he shows he can kick goals. 90 minutes gone.
Why is this man hiding the world's most valuable cook?
Makes the difference. Western Australia leading. There's the bounce. One down by Madden behind McNish. Coming through the pack, Rioli. In the opposite direction, Kennedy. The hand pass through the pack, not a particularly good one. Bounces obligingly there for Baker. Baker ferrets a hand pass across to Lester Smith. He wants some room. Gets it too. Kicks across towards Deepia Domenico, however. And as we said at the outset, he's too tall. And given that back spot, he can simply take Narkle under the ball and mark over him. So he's got the ball inside the centre square, told to play on. Indifferent sort of a kick as it goes towards the outer side, and a brilliant mark is paid to Baker. Well, maybe he just held it long enough as Royal was body to body with him.
Yes, it was over the shoulder according to the umpire. That was what it was for.
Friendly. Kick comes grandstand side from Baker. Mark is taken by Harding. Harding sends it out wide towards right half forward into the path of Pert. Coming up to meet him is Rioli. Pert runs it out of bounds. And he made it look pretty good. I think he intended from the start to take it out, but we'll have a boundary throw in. What about the 50-metre line? 12-6 Western Australia. Victoria 10-10, just over 20 minutes played. Third term, Rucks go to it. Keane uses his strength. What strength he's got? And he's got more than you think. Ball spills wide of the pack, however, taken by Di Domenico. Harding is in there, fisted away by Williams. Narkle knocks it on, only as far as Di Domenico. He's having an influence in this term, but not with kicking like that. It comes directly to Lester Smith. Time to settle. Drives it back towards centre half forward. Wilson in front. Strong mark taken by the running player from East Fremantle. Sends it out wide. He sets Baker a task. He's confronted by Mullane. Picked up now by Hardy. Hardy goes in short. Taken by Mitchell. Mitchell gives it to Davidson. He's in real trouble as Peter Davidson gets it back somehow to Mitchell. Mitchell 30 metres out has snapped the goal. What a snap. Michael Mitchell gets WA's 13. WA 13-6. Victoria 10-10.
Well, that's the brilliance of this player, that he can produce from time to time. And here's a snap coming up. No time at all to have a look at the goals. He didn't need it. He threaded through a magnificent goal for West Australia. But just moments before then, Dennis, I thought his hand pass to Davidson was not the best thing to do. He had an open goal 20 metres ahead of him. Went for a soft hand pass to Davidson. Had nowhere to go. But fortunately for WA, worked out fine.
22.5 minutes gone. They're in front by 14 points, Western Australia. This will be a ball up again, but it's down towards their centre half forward position. Victoria can't break their lead. They keep on bouncing back all the time. They're playing as a real good football team. Knocked out by Harding and missed that time by Harms. It went off the side of his boot. We see a great Wilson showing a lot of strength. There's the little fella again. Mitchell had kicked that last goal. Gets a hand pass out to Harding. Picked up here by Barstow. He can't get clear. Now's a chance for Narkle running at the 50-metre mark. Goes for a pass. It'll be okay.
Brilliant.
McNish has got it. He plays on. It'll be another goal. Brilliant play on the part of West Australia.
You know, it's a record.
West Australia through Wilson. Up there towards the full forward position. Pete got one from Danaher. The umpire said play on. Danaher got one that time. Down there for McNish. The ball out wide as they go now for Mullane. But he's grabbed. Oh, great tackle by Mitchell. Victoria looking slow as we see Thompson take the ball back towards the centre of the ground. Big Madden's got it. He doesn't know where to go. He hesitates. And finally it's over to Perth. Perth in a bit of trouble too. They're not going directly enough, Victoria, and that's a bad pass and a great mark taken down there by Lester Smith. They're actually ratting at the moment, Victoria.
But Lester Smith having a very big third quarter.
That's right.
Magnificent, in fact.
Lester Smith down towards half back for Western Australia. Sends play to the grandstand side wing. Di Domenico goes back. Didn't really want it. It's out of bounds. We'll have a boundary throw in.
No matter how big you are.
I think he wanted it. I think he lost sight of it, I think.
I think he call it quits at that, shall we?
I don't think you'd ever say that about Bertie, Eric.
I didn't. It was Dennis.
Boundary throw in. And it's going to be a Western Australian free kick. It'll be taken by Keane. Keane. Forward of centre wing. Hurt himself as he kicked that ball down towards the pocket. It's bouncing awkwardly for Danaher. It was almost a goal. Nobody touched that, did they?
I don't think so. It would have been one of the most remarkable goals of all time. He kicked it from 80 metres out and it never got over about a metre off the ground.
They would take some practice in.
I dare say.
Danaher.
Mind you, I wasn't bad at that myself.
Western Australia 14-7, Victoria 10-10 as Danaher goes to the outer side. Off hands a chance for Mullane out there. Mullane, high kick back towards centre wing. Leading back, Laidley takes a very good running mark. He was going at full tilt there. Comes across the ground. Nest of West Australians. The mark is taken by Hardy. And some of the work off the ball by the West Australians outstanding as Hardy kicks it across the centre circle, favouring the right centre wing for Western Australia. Big Laurie's got a job to do now. Tries to palm off Royal, couldn't succeed. Then from the sitting position gets it across to support. Unfortunately, Lester Smith couldn't control it. Coming through his Waitman. He chips it to Di Domenico. Di Domenico lays the ball into the path of Williams. Someone has to come and meet him. For Ninnings, that's someone. Hardy will get back. Tackles him, but not before the hand pass comes to Royal, and Royal pops through another goal for Victoria, his third.
Brad Hardy having a bit of a dispute there with Greg Williams. It shouldn't come to too much. The goal stands. That's all that matters for Victoria. Every time, again, Dennis Laurie Keane being taken from the ground. I really can't understand that. Okay, he made a bit of a mistake down here in front of the members stand, grandstand here, but he really has been a superb player for West Australia. But from that mistake, Victoria always had the numbers and finally ended up with Royals' third goal. And incidentally, that was the Royals' 18th kick. A superb performance from the big Footscray Rover. There it is. Pops it through from 25 metres out, and Victoria stay within touch.
Centre bounce again. Victoria bouncing back, but is it enough? A hand pass from Williams coming over to Waitman. Short pass looking for Taylor. It's too long. Glenn Denning going there with him. It bounces okay, then he lost it. Ball kicked off the ground by Waterson out towards the wing position. Coming out to meet it is Laidley, and Mullane picked up again by Narkin, but it's forced out of bounds by Brereton. It's about, let me see, about 75 metres around from the Victorian goal. They're trailing by 15 points. 76 plays 91. Into this quarter by about 27 minutes. As a go, Lester Smith played a superb third quarter as the ball goes back there towards Mitchell. He missed that, and so did DP a minute ago. He cashed in on the mistake, the little fellow, and a magnificent hand pass coming over now to Wilson at centre half forward. Look at him crash through this guy like a rugby player, and look at the kick. Oh, is it a goal? No, it's a point. That was a magnificent bit of play on the part of Wilson that time. Isn't he a strong player, this guy?
Yes, he's been rather inspirational himself, and I think Pete confused the goal line there. He could have been tempted to take the mark.
Wilson again. Oh, he's called play, and I reckon that was just about a mark. The crowd thinking the same too, but the umpire said, go on, fellas, play on. A hand pass coming out to Healy. He's out there on the centre wing position. Drives the ball over the Victorian half-forward line. Brereton flies. It's punched out. DP Domenico scoops it in nicely. There's a chance now for Royal to mark again. He's got it. And Royal would be about 35 metres out from goal directly in front. No doubt Victoria's best player. Decides to have a little chop. He was hurried, but he's got it through for a goal. So the Vics are coming back again. 14 goals, 8.92. West Australia, Victoria 12-10, 82, a difference of 10 points, and that's Royal's fourth goal.
Also his 18th kick, Lou, and he really has been quite superb. That was one of the cases where Brad Hardy, as we all know, is a very attacking back pocket player, was sucked into the play. Royal simply dropped back behind him, and from that point on it was very, very much trouble for Western Australia. Royal doesn't miss too many of those.
Study of teammates there, Brian Royal and Brad Hardy. From out Western Oval way, bounce down back in the centre, 14-8, 12-10 as you heard. Chance now for Baker to go through the pack. Some heavy bodywork done around him. DP Domenico emerges with the ball, but the umpire Castle, wants to bounce it down. Approaching three-quarter time, 28.5 minutes gone. Salmon opposed to Harding. One backward of the pack brilliantly by Harding, taken by Rioli. Hurried kick towards half forward. Wilson over the top of his marker down there, Folds. Reading it off hands. A chance for Thompson, almost holding the ball. He's penalised. The advantage is paid now. Away comes Rioli, runs about 30 metres, kicks towards full forward. I think he's missed. Well, errors by all and sundry there, perhaps including the umpire.
Well, Rioli really had it. He couldn't make up his mind whether to have a long shot or go for a short pass. In the end, he went for the kick, but I think he'd lost his confidence at that stage.
Danaher looking to find views on the kick in. That's ambitious, and Wilson read it brilliantly, coming across to take the mark. Well, if you have to kick to a rover, you've got problems coming out of goal. There weren't too many options. Salmon just hanging around about 40 metres out from goal, directly in front. That wasn't one of the options. Peake on a lead, pushed in the back. He'll take a free kick. Danaher can't believe it.
Dennis, now Peake is only going to be kicking from 30-35 metres out as the brawl has erupted down in the forward pocket. Time is very close to, in fact, they've been playing for about 31 minutes now. If Peake could steer this one through, it would certainly give West Australia a very, very handy lead of 17 points just before three-quarter time.
15 metres against Victoria. Pert and Buckenara got tangled.
Well, he's moved back about 4 metres.
And the runners come out to talk to the umpire now. It's the West Australian umpire, David Johnson. And the big runner was out to him. He's gone back to talk with Kevin Sheedy, but he was sent hurriedly on his way. And now Brian Peake, a chance to kick yet another. His sixth goal, if it swings back sufficiently, that's close. It's a goal. Western Australia through big 6, move to 15. They're 15-9. They lead Victoria 12-10, and the stage is set for a thrilling finish, because bear in mind Victoria will finish with the breeze.
Although the wind is not a strong one, Dennis, and I think also that, in fact, looking at the scores, Victoria kicked 4 against it in the first quarter, West Australia 5 against it in the second quarter, and now Victoria's also added further 5 in the third, so it's not a big breeze, is it?
Kevin Sheedy looking very worried, and so he should be, because they're in plenty of trouble. They're down by 17 points at the 31.5-minute mark. Buckenara goes in. He's upended by Perth. Picked up now by Healy. Healy goes for a long kick over the half-forward line. Oh, there's a great mark to Hardy. He's got to play that.
Timely mark too, Lou. Three-quarter time is almost with us, and he really must hang on.
So, and due to go for the end of the third quarter. The ball back. It's a long kick by Hardy again over the centre field area, but they all got under that one. Ball pushed on again, that time by the big fella Satori. Couldn't get clear, goes after it again. There's a stack up here, but the umpire's calling play on. McNish gets it out now up towards Peake. Peak flies, gets under that one. It's a go for Buckenara, but kicked off the ground. He's put it out of bounds on the full Perth, and that'll be a penalty free kick to go to Buckenara right on the boundary line. Only about 5 or 6 metres around from the Perth goal.
Oh, Mitchell is calling for it.
He decides to run on and have a snapshot. What's he done with that one? We'll wait on the result. That's the point. Well, he could have passed to Mitchell.
He was pleading for the ball there, right in front, 15 metres out, and Buckenara, I suppose, in fairness, had to go back over the mark and take the kick, though, and time wasn't with him.
18 points the difference. Ball drops short. This is dangerous. Oh, that was a good save that time by Morwood. Buckenara right on the boundary line. Hooks it back over his shoulder, looking for Peak. But there's the siren to win the third quarter. And West Australia looking in a good position, 15-10-100 to Victoria, 12 goals, 10-82.
Okay, let's check the quarter-by-quarter scores back here at Subiaco Oval. At quarter time, Victoria led by a point, 4-5 to 4-4. At half-time, Western Australia led by 10 points, as you can see, 9-5 to 7-7. And now at three-quarter time, Western Australia 15-10 lead Victoria 12-10. And so do the goal kickers. And Brian Peake, an outstanding performer for Western Australia, has 6. 2 each to Rioli, McNish, Buckenara and Mitchell. And certainly in that term, McNish grew in stature. For Victoria, Royal has 4. An outstanding effort from Brian Royal. Taylor didn't add to his tally in that term, remains on 3. Waitman, another fine performer for Victoria, but they fall away after their first 2 or 3. Healy 1, Brereton 1. They're the goal kickers as we take a look at the collective stats for the two sides. And as you can see, WA generally have had more use of the ball, although handballs probably squares that to about even. 49-65, 142, 166. Your maths are better than mine, Eric.
I'll make it WA 10 ahead, Dennis.
I'll make them 18 points ahead, Eric. Okay, we'll be back with more about the footy in just a moment. The scene at Subiaco Oval. The stage is set for a thrilling last term. Back after this commercial break. 18 points the difference. Let's go back down to the boundary line. Ken McCauley and John Rogers have been listening to what the coaches had to say.
Thanks very much, Dennis. Well, Kevin Sheedy was surprisingly relaxed. I expected him to really lay it on the line to the Victorian players, but he was cool, calm and collected. Made it very clear that this is the quarter that they've really got to work. He was talking about stats a lot during that quarter, or during the interval, and he was very pleased with the way their stats came up, particularly their shepherding and tackles. But he's made it very clear to the players that they've only got 30 minutes in which to make sure that they win this title, and he's called on every player to pick up. They're going to start off very defensively at the start and then work their way ahead. John, what about the West Australians?
Not a dissimilar message from the West Australian camp. The thing that Ron Alexander wanted his boys to do, Noddy, was to make sure they cut out the easy kick, that the Victorians didn't get any easy kicks in the last quarter, bearing in mind they're kicking with a reasonably strong breeze. The West Australians have got to knock the ball forward at all times, and he made the point that they've got plenty of legs left, more legs than the Victorians should have, he said, and he wanted the players to commit themselves in this last quarter absolutely to exhaustion. He said, in the last quarter, I want you to talk more, shepherd more, soccer the ball forward, push it forward at all times, and endeavour to be the first man at the ball, because if you're going to be first to the ball, you'll get whatever kicks are going. Dennis, it looks like being last man standing in this game, I reckon, is going to go right down to the wire.
He does, John. Thanks very much indeed. Ken McCauley and John Rogers down there with the coaches during that three-quarter time break. So the crowd already getting involved, although that's more than involvement, I think. Wouldn't you guess? It's up near the bar. Let's go into those individual stats now, Eric. We saw the collective stats a short time ago. Who's been getting what out there?
Well, Brian Royal has been quite superb for Victoria, Dennis. He's the leading kick getter on either side with 19. He's only had a couple of hand passes, which is a little bit disproportionate, but that's 21 possessions for Royal. Waitman's been a good contributor with 17. Williams continues to do well in the centre with 22, although I thought he lowered his colours in that quarter to Rioli. Mullane's had 14, and Gerard Healy, 9 kicks, 8 hand passes for 17. For Western Australia, their leading kick getter at the moment is Brad Hardy with, no, he's not, Maurice Rioli with 17. Surprisingly, for a player who uses the handball so well, he's only had 3, which gives him a total of 20 possessions. Mitchell, 10 of each for 20. Leon Baker, 6 kicks in the third quarter, was much better player, and he's now got 16 possessions. Buckenara was quiet, he's only 15. But Lester Smith, 13 kicks all up and 7 in that third quarter, and Lude confirms what we both thought.
Well, he played a great
blocked Victoria time
right.
and time again across that half-back line in that third quarter.
Well, Victoria falling down badly in attack, and they've only got about really 4 players firing, I'd say, Dennis, and it's mainly their smaller players, and even Healy went out of the game in that third quarter, and they were counting on him, I should imagine. But
well, in the first half at least, they had Taylor at full forward performing well. Brereton had a dismal second quarter. He didn't lift a great deal in the third. I think he had 2 or 3 more kicks in the third. So, and Taylor was a non-contributor in the third quarter, so a few problems up there. It was really left of Royal. I think he's got 3 of his 4 goals in that third quarter.
I was very impressed with Wilson in that third quarter too. Strong play, and of course he really goes after when he's got it in his sights, doesn't he?
He does. Interesting here too, Laurie Keane, who's been the West Australia's supremo in the ruck, is off the ground apparently with cramp, and he's not reappeared, and I think that's a very, very severe blow to West Australia. I believe he's been the best big man out there by quite a deal.
Yep.
He's no longer there. And Harding, who's a very high leaping player, but he's just got to concede too much height to players like Salmon or Madden, and Madden's a player he's got to confront at the first bounce down.
Ted Whitten looking very pensive as he walks off the ground, one of the Victorian selectors. So about to start the final term, Victoria finishing with what is a freshening breeze. 3 goals the difference, 15-10 to 12-10. If we could just have a look at the strength of that breeze, it may give our Victorian viewers some indication. That's a pretty good breeze to have behind you coming home 3 goals down. This game is up for grabs, make no mistake about that. And so is the title. Harding wins it out. Chance for Waitman coming to meet the ball. Deep here Domenico strong arms his way through. High kick towards half forward. Brereton from behind. Juggled attempt at the mark. It came off the hands of the man in front, Lester Smith first. And the umpire decides he wants to ball it up.
I thought that could have been a free kick against Deep here Domenico then.
Well, he brushed him off nicely, didn't he?
Straight arm. Yes, it was.
There's the bounce. One down by Madden, taken by Williams, feeds it out to Mullane. Mullane, who's been a quiet player, goes in short and finds Morwood on the 50-metre line. Now, he has the breeze behind him. It's a swirling breeze at this end of Subiaco Oval because of the configuration of the stands. But a goal here is not out of the question. This is the ideal spot to shoot from. Morwood. Long kick, and now the breeze will pick it up and push it through, but the accuracy wasn't there. So behind a Victoria, they start the scoring in this final term, 12-11 to 15-10. Ross Glendinning, indecisive. Miles perhaps offers the best lead. Glendinning sees that now and goes out towards Miles. Deep here Domenico read it well. He came down to cut it out. Miles leads back in the race though, tries to knock it onto the advantage of Narkle. Narkle lacks support out there. He's surrounded by Victorians, but he's getting a free kick.
Behold the man.
Talk about soft free kicks. I thought that was one of them.
Phil Narkle on the outer side, as you can see, a player who's at the highest honour here in Western Australia. Kick goes around the outer side. Off hands a chance for Waitman. Waitman can't control the ball. Now he's in trouble. Claimed by Blackwell. That's holding the ball. Good decision.
Good decision that time by the umpire. So it's Blackwell driving it over the half-forward line. Oh, knocked out by Danaher. Picked up that time by Satori. Back it goes to Peake, over to Rioli. Back it goes. It was a good hand pass. Soccer's tactics that time to Satori from Peake. Back to Blackwell. Hooks the ball back towards the full forward position.
Got a relay free kick.
It'll be a free kick downfield. He was knocked off. He kicked it that time.
Well, that's a crucial mistake, I think, by Victoria.
Bad mistake to Victoria. This gives
Macanaro will be taking the kick, and I don't think you could wish for anybody safer.
And it's pretty close in. It's only about 25 metres out. Probably about 30 metres by the time he kicks the ball, but they're in front now by 17 points. And they're kicking against the breeze. This will be a vital goal for West Australia. This will give them a lot of confidence. There it is, a goal. And that's a bad start.
I'm home.
Hello, Dad. Hello, Dad.
Sometimes life gets so crowded with never-ending bits.
Now to Williams. He actually threw that one, didn't he? But went too hard for Victoria to go into attack. Over their half-forward on Taylor, got one on the back. The umpire spotted that. Now Taylor would be about 40 metres out from goal, and if Victoria ever need a goal, this is it. Into this quarter now by just on 4 minutes, and Victoria trailing 83 to 106. That's a 23-point deficit. So it's up to Taylor now. He's already kicked 3 goals. It's a vital kick for the Victorian full forward. He'll be kicking from about 40 metres out. The angle not very acute at all. But the crowd trying to blow it away from the goals. But that's a beautiful kick and a goal.
Yeah, it's a good goal there by Brian Taylor. He's had to wait a while to get his 4th goal, but he didn't look like missing it. Certainly took his time about it. And well, he might. It was a very, very important kick from the Victorian point of view. And, well, the quick reply there, that goal from Buckenara was only a minute and a half ago, so Victoria really haven't dwelt on replying. And still this game is very much up for grabs. 17-point margin, still a comfortable one for West Australia, though.
Justin Madden
Now the bounce to come from umpire Castle. 106-89. Harding comes in for Western Australia. One out by Madden, taken by Mullane. The hand pass not a particularly good one. It's picked up by Mitchell. Mitchell inside the centre square, fires it long towards half forward. Satori brilliantly works his way to the front.
Yes, he's the last cab off the rank there, wasn't he?
Takes the strong mark, feeds it to Rioli into the path of Peak. Knocked away by Danaher. The two captains there. Danaher comes away with it, drives it along the grandstand wing. Good kick, finds Healy. Runners inside. What will Healy do? Draws a man, pops it over the top. Taken by Morwood. Waitman inside him. That's the direction the hand pass takes. Waitman, one bounce. Measures it now. 50 metres out. There goes the kick. Straight through the middle. Goal Victoria. They're 14th, 14-11. Western Australia 16-10.
Well, that was a brilliant passage of play by Victoria from the moment that Danaher knocked that ball away from Peak. I must confess I thought Peak was in position to mark it. He didn't. And Danaher recovered best. And from the moment he got possession, onto Healy. And then no trouble at all for Morwood to pop it over to Waitman, who was the man that kicked the goal. And he, as we said before, with Royal have formed a very, very formidable pair of rovers for Victoria.
5.5 minutes played. Dale Waitman. Madden opposed to Harding. One down by Madden, taken by Baker. High up and under. Fisted forward by Davidson. Well, in the wrong direction, but Davidson got his hand in there. Rioli's kick goes down towards half forward. Thompson in the way, surrounded by West Australians. Well played, Thompson. Knocks it out of the pack, showing a lot of courage was Morwood. Mullane goes in. He's grabbed by a couple of West Australians. They tie it up. There'll be a bounce out towards left centre wing for Western Australia, who lead it 16-10 to 14-11. 6 minutes gone, final term.
11 points, the difference between these two sides in favour of West Australia. Knocked out by Madden. Oh, bad bounce. This allows Victoria to go further forward through Royal. Played a great game and a beautiful pass. And Brereton's got it about 30 metres out from goal. So the Vic's really bouncing back.
Most unfortunate bounce there. Dean Langley did the right thing, and the ball
went the wrong way.
Just went not much you can do about that, Lou.
Certainly not, Eric. We're waiting now on Brereton to kick this goal to make the difference 5 points and give Victoria a real chance, because they're coming home with a pretty strong breeze. I think they call it the Fremantle Doctor, don't they?
The kick coming from the other way, mate.
It's coming the other way tonight, is it? I don't know much about it.
Every day, everywhere.
Points the difference. Madden knocks the ball out. Not a good one. Williams, he's got it, can't get out. He finally gets it out to DP Atomatico. A long kick over the half-forward line. Brereton! Oh. Well, this fellow, as I said before, once he lets himself go, he can win a game within 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, he's done nothing for 2 quarters, but he's already kicked the goal at the beginning of the last, and from 45 metres out dead in front, he could put Victoria in front for the first time since the early moments of the game.
That was a marvellous mark, wasn't it? Brereton steers through another one. That's his third, and Victoria lead it 16-11 to 16-10. We've played 7.5 minutes in this final quarter.
Well, it's almost too sudden to comprehend. It was only, what, 5 minutes ago West Australia were 4 goals in front. And good body use on that occasion by Brereton, who now has Lester Smith as an opponent. And through goes his third, as Dennis said, and Victoria in front. Well, a long way to go, but Victoria certainly has got the run on at the moment. Keen back on the ground for West Australia.
Yes, Harding is off. And now the test decidedly with Western Australia. They trail by a point up against the breeze, but the crowd is behind them as Miles kicks towards half forward for the West. Leading back is Purdy. He hasn't had a good day. Left the ball behind. Satori soccers it away into open space. Coming to meet the ball is Baker. Baker chips in short. Looking for Buckenara. Knocked away by Pert. Well played, and Pert goes again and crashes the ball out of bounds. On the full, that's bad luck. Kick to be taken by Buckenara out there. Gary Buckenara. Midway between right centre wing and right half forward. Not much on offer, going for distance. Some tired players out on this ground now. Big pack into the air, off hands. A chance for Victoria to bring it away. Kennedy trying to crash his way through. It's scrambled out of defence, eventually around the outer side by Folds, and the mark is taken by this man, Waitman. He's away, gets it across towards DP Domenico. Down goes Waitman. He was pushed in the back. He'll take a free kick.
Lucky to get away with that, Dale Waitman.
Yes, Waitman on the outer side wing. Chips it in short, looking for Williams. Hardy read it brilliantly and drifts across to take the defensive mark. WA desperately require the next goal. And Williams anxious to hang on to the ball. 15 metres against him.
Another 15.
He likes to give away that professional free kick occasionally, 15 metres, doesn't he? Williams, there goes the kick towards the outer side. And the mark is taken cleverly out there by Wilson, who now is confronted with a situation where he can run. Swings it back across his body. Finds Narkle. That was intelligent football. Narkle spears it down towards the pocket. Buckenara. And Buckenara is marked within scoring range, but the breeze will be coming across his body.
I just wonder whether Narkle, who could have gone on and had a shot for goal, is within the 50-metre circle on the full run. He's now presented Buckenara with a very, very awkward angle to shoot at.
Victoria in front by a point as Buckenara comes in for the kick. Oh, that's a magnificent goal, a real pressured goal. And they're back in front, and listen to the crowd go wild here at Subiaco.
And that's Buckenara's 15th kick and 4th goal, Lou, and probably the best of his 4 goals. A brilliant run, in fact, from deep out in the forward pocket. And some very, very strong play again by Peter Wilson. Lou, you picked him up in the 3rd quarter as being a very strong player.
Certainly is.
He showed his strength then, got himself in a bit of trouble, but got out of it just as well.
5 points the difference. West Australia back in front again. We're just over the 10-minute mark. There's an infringement, a free kick. It'll go to West Australia. So it'll be the big fella Keane, who's done a great job here today. Short pass. Is it dangerous? Yes, a bad one. This allowed halves to get through, and a long kick back there over the half-forward line. Punched away by Waitman. Nearly grabbed the mark as he went after it again. They pile on top of him. There's 3 of them, not letting him get away. And the umpire will ball it up around about the 50-metre mark.
I hate to be critical of Keane, Lou, but that was quite a foolish kick, wasn't it?
Certainly was. Salmon against Keane, knocked out by Keane. Grabbed that time by Davison, over to Wilson, went between his legs. That gave Mullane a break, and a hand pass coming out to Royal, straightens up, and another goal to Victoria, and Victoria back in front again.
Well, it's his 4th goal too. Dale Waitman, 5th, make it 5.
5 goals to Royal. He's played a superb game here today. A good hand pass by Mullane.
Well, that's the 3rd time the lead has changed hands in the last 3 or 4 minutes, so I suppose from a WA point of view, you'd hope it's at least once more.
Just on the 12-minute mark, and Victoria back in front by a point. They've got a long way to go before they win the championship. Knocked out by Madden. As they go now, fresh air shot that time by Wilson. He's played a pretty good game. He sunk the slipper in then too as Rioli comes out with the ball. Beautiful play by Rioli. Hooks it back to centre half forward. And that ought to be a mark to Mitchell. Never played it. Unbelievable. Listen to the crowd going mad. It's Harms getting it back. And a mark taken here by Morwood.
Well, he'd have to be absolutely blind.
Oh, I thought that was a mark.
Absolutely ridiculous. The worst decision of the day.
Morwood's got the ball, chips it out wide. Williams inside range now. He'd only be about 45 metres from goal. So Williams with a chance to kick one here for Victoria.
We'll see how quickly it can change. Now, this is the mark from Rioli, or the kick from Rioli, which Mitchell clearly marked. Make no mistake about that. And there it is. Well, if that's not a mark, I'm not sitting here.
That's unbelievable, that decision.
Greg Williams. Chance to stretch Victoria's lead. Long kick off target. So they lead by just 2 points now, 17-12 to 17-10.
It's all it needs, Dennis, in a tight situation like that. A bit of luck or a bad umpiring decision or something, and that certainly was a bad umpiring decision.
Approaching 13 minutes in the final term. Kick from Waterson to the outer side. No mark was taken out there. Madden leads back in the race. Goes between his legs, does the ball. Rioli just stole it from him. Rioli comes away, chips it in short, looking for Davidson. Can that turn things around? Davidson with runners outside, gets it over the top to Glendinning. Inside him is Narkle. Western Australia running at the Victorian defence now as Narkle storms down Subiaco Oval. Settles 50 metres out, spears the ball into the opposite pocket. Why, I don't know. McNish leads in the race. He's confronted there by Folds. He gets around him, tries to get it back, but Danaher blankets the hand pass. Comes off the heel of Danaher. Knocked out by Peake, back towards McNish. Folds falls on him and will have a bounce. But why did Narkle go there?
Well, almost identical, Dennis, to the other occasion 5 minutes ago when he's well inside the 50-metre circle at full head of steam, well within kicking range. I can't understand that either.
Victoria lead by 2 points as Satori pulls it backward at the pack. Thompson gets it to Folds. The high kick, grandstand side. 1-out contest. Morwood outmarked by Davidson. Superb mark by the West Australian winger. No leads on, needs to go for distance. Lead comes now from Satori. What can he do? Launches himself into a pack, but it's going to be a Victorian free kick. Man in front will take it. That's Healy.
Well, the crowd going mad, but it's a West Australian umpire that gave the decision.
Healy along the grandstand side. The leaper was Miles. Brereton the better judgment. Over the top to Waitman. Trouble for Western Australia. Waitman settles 40 metres out. Stabs goalward. Goal umpire does not move.
For difficult spots, the new Hoover Turbo Power comes complete with the unique burst of power switch. That's why Hoover is ahead of the rest.
Right now, every national product you buy could win you another in the National Instant Win.
Victoria in front. They're in front by 8 points. Centre-bounce. It'll be going for the knockout. Keane against big Madden. Madden got that one down. Healy couldn't get clear. He was well grabbed that time by Blackwell, and the umpire will board it up at centre field. Victoria in front by 8 points. They've certainly played a lot better this quarter and putting the pressure really on West Australia. Ball pushed out by Keane. There's nearly a free kick going to Raw, but the umpire didn't spot that Alvin fumble that. It was out to Davidson. Going after it is Blackwell. He's upended, picked up while Blackwell's got it again, but they pounce off. Good hand pass by Williams over to Royal. Back to Williams again. Another beauty coming up there to Domenico. Over there to Morwood. Morwood goes for a pass out wide looking for Taylor. It's got a bounce right. It does, but he fumbles. Taps it on now to Waitman. Waitman running to an open goal. Fires. And it's a point. He was off target that time. So they're looking a lot better now. Victoria really putting the pressure on WA.
Brilliant breakaway, Lou, on that occasion.
Good play on the part of Taylor too, wasn't it?
It was. I thought that Waitman should have really converted that. That would have made things pretty interesting.
9 points the difference. Victoria have got to win by at least 35 points, I would say, as the ball goes out there down to Alvin. We got one a bit high. Comes back now to Healy. They bounce on top of him. Tries to get the ball out. Ball pushed on by Lamb, but he was grabbed or got one in the back. And Lamb will take the free kick at half back. Into this quarter by just on 17 minutes. 17-10, 112 West Australia to Victoria, 18-13, 121.
Williams takes a great mark. He read it well. Lamb going for the short one. Williams drifting across in front to take the mark. He goes looking for Waitman. Hardy over the top, close to the boundary line. He's content to put it out. Time, no problem. Just 16.5 minutes gone. WA have got to play the percentages at the moment. It's interesting how WA looks so fast, so much more speed for the first 2.5 quarters, but in these latter stages it's Victoria who look pacier. It's one down by Keane. Brereton with a chance now, confronted by Miles. Scrambles a kick down towards the pocket. One out contest, and strength wins the day as Taylor gets rid of Glendinning and on his knees takes the mark behind his marker.
Well, he's lost sight of where the goals are if he thinks he's going to shoot from there.
Yes, he has to come around a little, doesn't he? There's the mark.
Glendinning really hasn't had a very happy day, has he?
No, he hasn't played well. He's had a bad season, Eric.
So Taylor
but still, he's been a great player.
No question. Taylor coming right around now. The right behind him. Brian Taylor with Victoria leading by 9 points. It's kick 4. And I think he may have just missed to the near side. He has. So behind, a lucky reprieve for Western Australia. Victoria 18-14. Western Australia 17-10. 17.5 minutes gone. Final term. It's a grey day in the city now. I suppose that matches the feeling of the supporters as this game is slipping away from Western Australia. Over the fence goes Lester Smith. He got his fingertips to that right on the boundary line, and we'll have a boundary throw in.
It's about 50 metres around from the Victorian goal. They're in front by 10 points, but they've got to get a few more goals to win the championship. Knocked out by Keane. He's done a marvellous job on the ruck, that big fellow, and he's pushed it around further. Around about 70 metres around from the Victorian goal. They put up a very good last quarter, the Vics, looking much stronger and running away at this particular stage. Keane again, got the knockdown, picked up by Healy's in trouble, shrugged them up beautifully that time. That's strength. Up it goes to the full forward position. There's a chance now for Waterson. Takes an easy mark. Grabs that there at full back, goes wide. Domenico and Davidson, they clash. That'll be against the umpire paying the advantage. Wills, we see Narkle streak away from his opponent. Over it goes now to McNish. Back to Narkle again. Over to Buckenara. Out there at half forward. A long shot. Peake's got the sit here. Kennedy coming at the back. The ball's pushed down. Peake again. A step and goal. He's got it through. A great bit of play on the part of Peake.
Hello. The funny performance on this ground last season. Both Geelong players. Of course, Peak, a former Geelong player. Back in the centre, the Rucks go to it again. The game is still up for grabs. Trying to crash his way through was Williams, but a dexterous hand pass came out from Blackwell. Narkle gives it across to the run of Mitchell. Whoops, Mitchell left it behind. Deep here, Domenico crashes into the legs of Mitchell. Mitchell, the presence of mind to get a hand pass to Narkle. Narkle goes very short, needed some distance. Rioli couldn't control it. Emerging with the ball is a tired Healy. Healy swings it down towards half forward. Up was Brereton, and he takes a spectacular mark.
Oh, that short game is killing Western Australia down there.
Alvin from the hand pass. Hardy comes out to meet the ball, gathers it superbly on the half volley. Down goes Madden, an aggressive shepherd from Miles. Ball on the outer side. The mark has been taken by Lamb. Lamb kicking towards centre wing. It bounces out of bounds. We'll have a throw in on the outer side. Madden is down, and he copped an absolute perler from Miles, who picked him off as he had eyes only for the man who had the ball. Throw in on the outer side. Salmon battling with Keane. Clean possession to the West Australian giant. Is getting a free kick taken high.
Played a great game, this big fellow. Oh, Victorian player hurt. I think it's Madden. Looks like coming off the ground. There's the kick. 4 points the difference. West Australia still in this game. Peak at the back again. He's already kicked 7 goals. Playing the game of his life, this fellow. He's really shown the Victorians what he's made of. The pack fly. Oh, about that. McNeice. Oh, how about that for a screamer? What a ripper. They're the sort of marks that win matches for you.
40,000 people lured. I reckon everybody jumped out of their seats with that
Certainly
one.
have. And great play on the part of those two West Australians. A magnificent mark from Peak, and then that magnificent mark again from McNeice. Well, he's only about 25, 30 metres out. He fires. That deserves the goal, but he's missed it. It certainly deserved better than that. Victoria can thank their lucky stars over that bad kick.
Mitchell is off Lou, and Madden is coming off.
Well, Madden got a nasty knock there. I think it was in that shepherd on that other side of the ground there, Dennis.
I'd like to see that mark again if we get a chance to. What a superb mark it was.
3 points the difference. The ball back towards the centre of the ground. There's a good mark to Mullane at centre half back. Goes for a hand pass. It'll be okay. Perth's grabbed it out there. Boots the ball long to centre half forward. Brereton in front. Ball punched away by Miles. Picked up by Healy. Breaks clear. Goes for a pass. Looking there. But it's a bad one. Grabbed by Lester Smith. So the West Australians take the ball away from the danger zone. There's plenty of them out there as Hardy fought beautifully. Got away from Taylor. Left him for dead. Over it goes now to Nark. This little fella's played a great little game too as the ball goes out wide. A chance for Wilson. He's got it. He'll go for a hand pass. Back it goes to Buckenara. Always dangered. Over to Rioli. They got a chance to score a short pass and a mark. It'll be a mark there to Baker. And the crowd are really jumping here at Subiaco. Noted about that. What a game we've seen.
Well, when you see football of this calibre, no one of these State of Origin games have really captured the States by storm. This has been quite spectacular on the level of the others that have been preceding it over the years.
3 points the difference, and West Australia have hit the button. Don't you know it here at Subiaco? Listen to them roar. Let's see if the Vicks can bounce back.
Well, it's been topsy-turvy, first one side and then the other. I thought West Australia not only, as there's a good mark from Wilson, uses his body beautifully, gets a hand pass away, and this is where they get into a bit of muddle, West Australia. Buckenara shoots one out to Rioli, then the short kick. This will be the mark taken by Baker and the conversion. But first of all, West Australia looked as though they had it wrapped up. Then Victoria likewise. Well, I wouldn't say West Australia's got it wrapped up, not by a long stretch of the imagination, but at least they're back in front.
23.5 minutes gone. Final term. Western Australia lead by 3 points. What a showcase for Australian rules football. It's one down by Keane, taken by Buckenara. Gets it across to Miles. Miles deflects it out wide. It's a foot race now. Leading in the race is Davidson, who was tripped. Umpire Castle adjudicates it's a free kick to the West Australian on centre wing. Give the umpires their due. They've made a few mistakes today, but my word, the umpiring has been excellent too.
You could say this stadium's alive, couldn't you?
It's buzzing, isn't it? There goes the kick from Davidson. Spectacular mark is taken by Danaher. He's at right half back. Terry Danaher, the Victorian skipper. The breeze has fallen away a little. Danaher, the long kick, grandstand side. Brereton, strong mark. He was going, not according to the umpire. Lester Smith is brought back on the mark. Brereton fires it down towards the pocket. Taylor's the target. Fisted away Glendinning. It's out of bounds. And he gathered himself for that leap, Glendinning. Every ounce of energy he had to get up there and fist it away from Taylor.
We're right on the 25-minute mark. Ball out of bounds. About 40 metres around for the Victorian goal. Knocked out by Taylor. He grabs it on the rebound, hooks it back to the goal square. There's a chance for Victoria. Now Albans there, but they go defensive. Knocked out by Waterson. Narkle and DiPierdomenico. DiPierdomenico tries to crash his way through. That's Sebasto trying to get out. Out to Narkle again. There's a stack up there on the umpire playing a free kick to Victoria.
Fairly red hot.
Well, he put his body in, didn't he?
Well, it's the West Australian umpire paying the free kick too. The West Australians can't growl about that, but he's got a free kick. Oh, he got him round the neck.
Well, that wasn't the kick though, was it?
No, I don't know. Well, he's got the... No, that's late. That's an earlier one. Dale Waite with the crowd trying to blow the ball away from the goals. And he's put it through. The Vicks have hit the front again. Oh, this is a great game. What a game. And that's 5 goals to Waitman. And what a performance.
Well, again, the strength of the Victorian Roving, Lou, that's 5 goals to Waitman. Royals already kicked 5, so 10 of the 19 goals have come from their pair of Rovers, the brilliant pair of Rovers, really. That was a very, very good goal from deep out on the forward pocket, and the pressure goal indeed. Well, they can't come any harder than that, I guess. So West Australia now with 25.5 minutes gone. Still got time to get there.
Certainly have 3 points the difference. Can the West Australians bounce back again? Knocked out by the big fella Keane. Buckenara grabs it out there on the wing. A hand pass coming over. And that's Slam driving it well over the half-forward line. Peak, did he get one on the back?
He did.
He's going to pay the free kick.
Mind you, that's pretty hot, you know. He really
I think he played for that.
I think it was Ruse, and I don't think I would have paid it.
Drives it up towards the full forward position. Perth punched on again. A chance now for Davidson collected hard, but he shrugged him up with strength that time. The ball back to the wing position. The pack flies, pushed on by Lester Smith, back to Victoria's way. And that's Hughes going for a hand pass. Picks it up again himself. A kick up there towards the goals. It's going close. It'll bounce in. It did an off break, and it's in. That could be the one that's won the game for Victoria, I would say.
What was I saying about a stroke of luck, and I take nothing away from Victorians. They have been magnificent to come from 4 goals down. But the bounce was kind. Let's say at least that. There is about to hit the deck well offline and almost at right angles. Well, you can't do much about it.
I think it'd be a leg break. I said an off break, not being an old spin bowler from way back. It was a leg break.
I think he's bowling to a left-handed batsman, though.
That's right.
134 to 125, and one sense is perhaps now Western Australia can do no more. Some great goals in this final term, none better than Waitman's from the angle. Buckenara got WA back with a magnificent goal from deep in the right full forward pocket. They go at it again. Salmon thumps Victoria forward, missed by Miles, backed up by Lester Smith. Kick to the outer side. The crowd of 40,000 willing Western Australia on. On the outer side, Baker is over the ball. Well played, Baker. Releases it now to Narkle, who draws a man and pops it over the top. Bairstow on the boundary line. Pulls it back to Hardy. The Brownlow medalist is tired. The ball is out of bounds. We'll have a throw in.
He's not Robinson Crusoe.
Free kick going to Hardy.
Yeah, retarded. I thought he may have almost been in possession, actually.
Hardy from the outer side, right half forward, high kick. Waterson in from the side, spectacular leap, waiting behind Peake. It lodged between his legs. He tosses it out to McNish. McNish was it back. He's got back. Oh, he's getting the kick for a push in the back. Well, he propped in front of the Victorian. I think if WA win this game, they'll talk about that decision for a long time.
Yeah, if you were writing the script for this match, you couldn't do it, could you?
No. But that's the same with a couple of them in recent years. McNish, point-blank range. Western Australia trail by 3 points now. 28 minutes gone, final term.
Well, I think this quarter will go about 32 minutes because we've had a lot of scoring.
Yeah, I was just trying to calculate the goals. Victoria's kicked 8 and West Australia's now kicked 5. It's 13 goals. I reckon about 32, 33 minutes.
So we've got about, let's see, about 5 minutes to go, I would say.
Well, there's time.
Well, close on. Victoria 3 points in front, but what a performance both sides have put up here today. Full marks. It's been a spectacular game. Here we go again, and the West Australian crowd getting right behind them. 40,000 of them. You can hear them roaring from all over Australia, I should imagine. Ball pushed on by Keane, still doing a magnificent job. Keane again. He puts it down to Davidson. Did he get one on the back? Yes, the umpire thought so.
That's 15 metres.
15-metre penalty gives him a chance to drive it deep into attack because it brings him up to centre half forward.
Only one Victorians in their half, Lou. They're all in defence.
He's got the long punch, punched out by, picked up by Buckenara. Snap! It's going to the goal. It's a goal. Put him in front. Oh! He's got him. Hit the front and look at Buckenara. Oh, what a game this is. The crowd, it's unbelievable here today. That's 5 goals to Buckenara. They're in front by 3 points, and Victoria have got time to bounce back. Can they do it?
Well, that's a snap from Buckenara. It hung in the heavens for ever so long. And the Victorian defence racing back, and there's McNish pleading for the umpire to say that's a goal. The umpire agreed. And Western Australia, who about 30 seconds ago or so it seems were dead and buried, have come back with two very, very quick goals, and it now remains to be seen whether the Victorians, who also have been absolutely superb, can get one more to win this game in what really has been one of the best football matches I think you would ever wish to see.
Just on 31 minutes gone, I'd say about 2 minutes to go at the most. Victoria down by 3 points, knocked out by Keane. He's played a great game, the big bloke. He won't give in, he's still going after it. He knocked it out, but the umpire will pull it up. Siren, I would say about 2 minutes at the most, Eric and Desi. Up they go again. Knocked out by Keane. Picked up by Buckenara. They go back into attack. It comes Danaher to take the mark at centre half back. He better get going because time running out for the Vics. They're trailing by 3 points. Out to Mullane. He's grabbed the mark and he's out there on the centre wing position.
Plays on quickly, gets it to Perth. Last roll of the dice maybe coming up for the Victorians. Perth goes towards half forward. Williams has taken the mark. Over the top to Royal. Royal inside scoring range. Brilliantly blanketed off the boot by Blackwell. Another chance for Healy deep in the pocket. He's assaulted by about 4 West Australians bearing down on him. Ball comes to Hardy. He's grabbed by Albin towards the boundary line. Lester Smith, it's out of bounds and will have a throw in.
What a tackle. Who was it, Dennis? Because he deserves a medal.
Blackwell came onto the boot.
Absolutely unbelievable, because that was a goal all the way. And if you can't kick them, that's the next best thing you can do to prevent them as well as that.
Well, it's a time of heroic deeds from players of both sides. We have a boundary throw in, right full forward pocket. Western Australia lead by 3 points. A lot of West Australians in defence now. Fisted goalward by Taylor. Alvin is claimed by Hardy. The West Australians dive on the ball to tie it up.
Just on 33 minutes gone, Des.
Well, there'll be no justice to either side, I guess. If there's a loser in this, it's been a magnificent contest. Bounce down, right full forward, 25 metres out. Keane over the top, clean possession, Salmon. Salmon is claimed, almost holding the ball, and that's a crucial decision.
It could be their last gasp. It could be, but it may not be.
Western Australia will be in no hurry to take this kick. Miles.
Hug the boundary line if you've got any brains.
Someone's loose in the opposite pocket. I don't suggest that at this stage. Miles, grandstand side, big pack into the air. Western Australia got to get it close to the boundary. Williams, very clever hand pass. Kennedy left the ball behind. Kennedy is claimed now by Baker. Williams in the thick of things. Glendinning falls on the ball, and there's going to be a ball up.
Just on the 34-minute mark, still on Victoria's.
There it is.
The siren. They've won at West Australia. The final scores, West Australia 21 goals 11, 137 to Victoria, 20 goals 14, 134 in Leicester. This crowd, they're really whooping it up here today.
Well, it's absolutely amazing. One of those fantastic football matches.
Today's match was proudly brought to you by Bob Jane T-Marts, specialists in tyres, and presented for your enjoyment by National Panasonic, the big entertainer. In association with General Motors Holden. Holden, Australia's driving future. Carlton, brewers of Foster's Lager. And SIO, your